Kuan Yu turned his head and looked over, and there was Madara walking slowly over there. His expression was relaxed, and he was not nervous because of Kuan Yu's display of such terrifying strength. Because he knew that Kuan Yu could not continue to be used at this time. Kuan Yu, even I have to admire you. If it weren't for him, maybe even I would die in your hands. Madara smiled. Why? Want to kill me now? Kuan Yu said indifferently. Yes, although it is against my self-esteem, I am indeed not your opponent in that state, Madara said without embarrassment. For my purposes, I must kill you today. Madara's eyes flashed with cold light. An attack that even truth-seeking Ball can't defend is so terrifying. After using the key Kuan Yu, it seems that the injury is not serious. Madara glanced to one side. In an instant, two huge Susanoo appeared in front of Madara and blocked Madara's. Hee, you can't stop me, Madara sneered. Then you have to try it, Sasuke said coldly. Kuan Yu, you return to the space to recover, let's hold him, Itachi said. Kuan Yu looked okay on the surface, but who knew he had suffered multiple injuries, but Kuan Yu could even recover his eyes, and he could quickly recover if he wanted to. And they are here to delay Madara's attack on others. Well, I'm okay. Let me come, I'm not too far to be able to move my hands, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Oh, I look down on you. Madara was also a little surprised. Obviously Kuan Yu can come out to solve him as long as he can't escape and cultivate for a period of time, but he didn't expect to run away and would have to do something with him. A space Uzumaki appeared. Obito appeared next to Madara, and he looked at Kuan Yu solemnly. It was so scary that even the truth-seeking Ball broke. But fortunately, he is also injured now, it is impossible to use that kind of move. I'm a villain in vain, Madara smiled. Kuan Yu narrowed his eyes, and Obito instantly felt like he was seen through. That's the case, but since you didn't kill Kakashi, I won't kill you for the time being. Kuan Yu saw Sharingan under Obito's mask and Kakashi lying on the ground in the distance. Obito had just attacked Kakashi and got his eyes back. Obito was in a cold sweat, but thinking that Kuan Yu was injured now, he didn't necessarily fear him. I couldn't help getting bolder. With me, you can't enter the space again, Obito said coldly. You are free, Kuan Yu said disdainfully. Madara frowned. Enough, you go aside, Obito nodded, and jumped away without saying anything. Kuan Yu looked at the other ninjas who rushed over. Sasuke, Itachi, take the others away, Kuan Yu said. Kuan Yu's body landed, but it was still suspended not far from the ground. Itachi and Sasuke hesitated for a while or left. They believed Kuan Yu. Anyway, Kuan Yu could not be killed, and Kuan Yu also cultivated other things, which they knew. Obviously Kuan Yu still has a whole card, which is obviously enough to deal with Madara. At the same time, the ninjas who rushed over also stopped them, exchanged some ideas, and left quickly. He also took away Kakashi who had fainted, after a while. The battlefield here is a bit inappropriate, how about making some changes, Madara said with squinting eyes. This has become a big pit. Okay, Kuan Yu smiled Kaido. In an instant, the two of them used Shenluo Tianzhong at the same time. The violent repulsion between the two collided together and continued to spread around. Everything around was destroyed, everything was repelled. The repulsion is still colliding. It seems that your other strengths have not been affected much, Madara said. He said that the purpose of modifying the battlefield was to test how much Kuan Yu had retained, but now it seems that Kuan Yu's other abilities have not been affected. Of course, how else can Mr. Madara be satisfied? Kuan Yu smiled. Where they were not paying attention, half of their body fell on the ground. It was the corpse of third generation that was originally only half left. It had just been thrown away by Kuan Yu in their repulsion, and now it was creeping slowly. However, Kuan Yu's attention was on Madara, and he didn't even notice. Black and gray tissues constantly appear at the fracture. This is Ghost Loa. Half of his body was wiped out by Kuan Yu, but there was still life. At this time, a figure emerged from the ground. Then he walked to the wriggling stump. Have you been blown here, but there is still life? A cold voice sounded. And this person is Orochimaru, who has never been seen. Let me help you. Teacher, a white snake with the thickness of a thigh crawled out of Orochimaru's sleeves and snaked towards the stump. And this snake is a bit strange, there is a crack on its forehead, and some runes are carved around it. Something seems to be hidden. Sudden. Who? Orochimaru whispered. It's me. You should prepare the audience. Ju's body walked out from behind a tree behind Orochimaru. I see, Orochimaru said lightly. You are here. A trace of killing flashed in Orochimaru's eyes. Collect the body for my teacher, Orochimaru said coldly. Okay. Hurry up. It seemed that Orochimaru hadn't noticed a change in Orochimaru's attitude, and he left. And Orochimaru's huge mouth of the white snake swallowed the stump directly. Orochimaru waited silently for a moment, and then his eyes lit up. Then he glanced at the big hole in the distance, leaving here in a flash. It didn't take long for Orochimaru to leave. Ju's body emerged from the ground. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru actually did it. It seems interesting later, Black Zetsu said with a sinister face. Then he sank underground. I prepared some interesting audiences, but I haven't come yet. You can take advantage of this time to recover, Madara said lightly. A few kilometers around was plowed into flat ground by the two, and their surroundings turned into a flat area. Alright, to be honest, I still suffered a little injury, and the consumption was quite large. Kuan Yu also smiled. The natural energies around him gathered towards him and were transformed into yin and yang by Kuan Yu, and began to repair his body. Some blood clots were directly forced out of the body by Kuan Yu. The 7 layers are activated. Kuan Yu doesn't want to activate it in a short period of time before the body reaches a certain level. This will consume the number of cell divisions. It has greatly affected the potential of this body, which cannot be made up for by Yang done alone. After a while, Orochimaru came here. It's a little slower, Madara said with a frown. Hehe, after all, the previous battle was too fierce. I don't want to be accidentally injured, Orochimaru smiled. Stop talking nonsense. Let's start, Madara said displeased ly. Clear, Orochimaru began to seal, and then pressed it on the ground. Suddenly several coffins rose from the ground. The coffin board opened, and several figures walked out slowly. I felt strong chakra waves pervading the surroundings. A man in blue and armor came out and said. I've been summoned again. Who is this? A man wearing an armor similar to Madara looked at Kuan Yu and said puzzledly. He felt that the person in front of him seemed to be constantly absorbing natural energy, which was quite peculiar. Long time no see, Hashirama, Madara said. Madara, you were also resurrected. What's the situation now? Hashirama looked at Madara and asked suspiciously. He is not impure world reincarnation, he is really resurrected. The speaker was Tobirama who spoke first. His expression is a bit solemn. Tobirama and Madara haven't dealt much with each other. They should have something to do with Madara when they were called out this time. Kuan Yu looked at the others. He knows all the resurrected people. 3rd Raikage, 2nd Tsuchikage, 4th Kazekage, 2nd Mizukage are all characters who have appeared in the original book. They were also looking around, and they were a little surprised to see that this place was destroyed like this. Can you tell us what's going on now? 2nd Mizukage asked. Suddenly he was resurrected and appeared on the battlefield. Could it be that someone wanted to use them to fight? He glanced at Orochimaru who was standing next to him. Hehe, we are all spectators and we are here to watch the game, Orochimaru laughed. Watching the battle? The shadows summoned by Orochimaru asked suspiciously. The person in front of you is the strongest person in the ninja world today. If he is in his heyday, he can easily kill each of us, and it's useless even if we go together. Orochimaru smiled. Don't you want to watch his fight with Madara-sama? Suddenly everyone looked at Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu also smiled at them. Then they looked at Madara and noticed Rinnegan in his eyes, all a little surprised. Just this young kid? It looks like he should be a junior, 3rd Raikage said. Yes, he has grown to this point before he is 20 years old. It's really scary, Orochimaru explained. But why should I say that he is the strongest? 2nd Mizukage said suspiciously. Opening a secret technique that is comparable to the dead gate of the 8 inner gates. The person who does not die, he is qualified to be the strongest, Madara said lightly. Even he had to admit Kuan Yu's terrifying strength. Hashirama and Tobirama's expressions were shocked. They won't die like this. No, it's better to stand here well. This kind of strength is indeed too terrifying. They can feel the powerful chakra fluctuations in Kuan Yu's body, and at this level, they can unlock a secret technique similar to 8 inner gates. Simply inhuman. Hello, I'm Senju Kuan Yu said with a slight salute. Senju. Everyone looked at Hashirama and Tobirama. The two were also taken aback. Ahaha, this is actually a younger generation of our clan. I didn't expect to have a talent. It seems that Konoha has developed well, Hashirama laughed. Not bad, he just killed my teacher 3rd Hokage, Orochimaru said gloomily. Little monkey? Tobirama looked at Kuan Yu a little bit badly. He is not suitable for Hokage. I have erased all his records in Konoha. Kuan Yu didn't care about Tobirama's gaze. It seems that a lot of things happened after we died, Tobirama said. Let's watch the battle. This battle is the end battle, although there are some invincibility, Madara said lightly. Oh, Madara, you actually said that. Hashirama was also surprised. Madara is a very arrogant person. This kind of thing should be disdained to do. What's so surprising? I'm not the opponent of his heyday. There is nothing to say. Madara glanced at Hashirama and said. As soon as he stretched out his hand, a cloud of smoke dispersed, and a fan appeared in his hand. Everyone's expressions were shocked. Even Madara admits that he is not the opponent of Kuan Yu's heyday. How terrifying this young man would be. Let's get started. Madara was not prepared to explain. Kuan Yu's breath has stabilized, and he doesn't want to delay any more time. Orochimaru flashed away in an instant. These are impure world reincarnation, will not die. It is different for him to be affected. Although he is not necessarily afraid of these two people, it is not the time to be exposed. The others looked at each other, but slowly stepped back. Although they still retain some strength, this is not their heyday. Obviously someone has done something to their bodies. It just so happens that with you seniors watching the battle, I will show you what I created. He will change this era. Kuan Yu smiled. Madara's eyes narrowed. Does Kuan Yu still have a whole card? Impossible. It has only been a year and a half, and it is shocking that Kuan Yu can cultivate to this level. How can there be time to practice others? As soon as Kuan Yu raised his hand, a small sword emerged from his hand. Yin and Yang escape? No, it just feels similar. This small sword let out a soft cry, and instantly turned into a long sword suspended in Kuan Yu's hands. Everyone looked surprised. How he did it? This is obviously a metal weapon, which can change in size and can be incorporated into the body. It also exudes strong chakra fluctuations, which is very extraordinary. Senior Hashirama should have found out. I have been in sage mode, Kuan Yu smiled. Yes, although I can barely do it for a long time, but it can't maintain stability like you. Even you are still absorbing natural energy. This is something I can't do. Hashirama nodded and said. Kuan Yu's state is indeed special. This is cultivating immortals. Through a special method, you can continuously absorb natural energy and maintain sage mode all the time. In this mode, people can make continuous progress, and their lifespan can be greatly increased. Kuan Yu smiled. Madara's eyes narrowed. There really is something else. Life? That's right. The immortals in the 3 holy sites can live a long time. Hashirama suddenly realized. You should have understood it earlier. Tobirama was speechless. This way he won't die. I'm a little different, Hashirama said awkwardly. It's no different. If you stay in sage mode for a long time, you won't die at all, Kuan Yu said. Sage mode was regarded as a combat method by them, and they did not consider maintaining it for a long time, and some characteristics were not displayed at all. Once Hashirama develops the original will, he can decompose natural energy without having to extract his own yang to use wood style. Even if you can escape from the yin and yang through the master of the immortal technique, plus more lifespan, humans will continue to grow stronger, reaching my level, Kuan Yu said. It's impossible. Madara didn't believe it. Ordinary people want to reach their level through cultivation, which is simply impossible. Kuan Yu smiled, and did not continue, but Hashirama thoughtfully. Go ahead. I don't want to listen to your nonsense. You are destined to die here today, Madara said. Well, let me show you the power of the immortal. Kuan Yu's body levitated. The long sword cut through the air and shot towards Madara in an instant. Ding! The long sword was blocked by Madara with a fan, and then bounced away. Just as Madara was about to rush towards Kuan Yu, the long sword that was flung around once again shot towards Madara's head. Madara turned her head and avoided. These little tricks are useless, Madara said coldly. Then try this. The sword light splits. The long sword circled around, hovering in the same species. In an instant, purple appeared on the top, and chakra swords continued to diverge from it, and quickly become a long sword of the entity. Then he shot Madara quickly. Shuriken clone technique, Hashirama said. Indeed, there is a lot of chakra on that sword, which can be differentiated, Tobirama said. Ding ding ding. Madara waved the fan continuously, and the long swords he shot were constantly being bounced off by him, but they immediately took a circle in the air and shot towards Madara. Among these swords is chakra, and even yin-yang escape, which is not so easily destroyed. And Kuan Yu is still manufacturing, and the number is increasing. Madara frowned. Enough, there was a sudden shock around his body, and the ground suddenly sank, and all the long swords were bounced off instantly and disappeared in the air. Kuan Yu smiled slightly, and the body of the long sword flew back into Kuan Yu's hands. You should know that this kind of attack doesn't make any sense to me. Madara was a little angry. He thought that Kuan Yu looked down on him, and he didn't even open the blue 10-star eyes. Madara looked at Kuan Yu's eyes, her body exuding a powerful aura. It's rare to have a good opponent who can show me the charm of immortality, I won't miss it. With a wave of the long sword in Kuan Yu's hand, he didn't care about Madara's anger. The long sword draws out an afterimage, and a large number of long swords appear, and they quickly gather behind Kuan Yu, like a peacock opening a screen, forming a sword wheel. With a wave of Kuan Yu's long sword, a large number of long swords shot towards Madara. Madara snorted and stretched out her hand. These long swords seemed to hit an invisible barrier and were bounced off in an instant. Sword wheel. The sword wheel behind Kuan Yu flew out as a whole, spun at high speed, and directly hit the barrier. The sharp sword cut through the barrier in an instant and hit Madara's body. Madara's eyes shrank, and she actually cut open the repulsive force. The group fan was in front of him, and a large number of sparks sputtered out immediately, and Madara was constantly pushed back. Obviously, the power possessed by the above is very powerful. This is not a chakra attack, and there is no way to rebound. But when he looked into the sky, he saw that the sky was already surrounded by dense long swords. Then they gathered together in an instant and cost-effectively became a ferocious stegosaurus, rushing from behind Madara. Everyone was stunned at this scene. Shen Luo Tianzhong, break it for me. Madara burst into repulsion. The sword wheel was bounced away, but the stegosaurus retreated slightly, and the long sword disappeared a little. But it is still advancing continuously against the repulsive force. Madara's eyes narrowed. The repulsive force was immediately compressed, and the stegosaurus was instantly cut in half. But Kuan Yu smiled slightly. All the long swords in the broken stegosaurus gathered again and instantly turned into a giant sword. Taking advantage of the gap between Madara's use of the Shenluo Heavenly Expedition, it was slashed at him. Boom! The surrounding ground exploded instantly, splashing a lot of smoke and dust. A pair of giant hands stretched out and directly grabbed the giant sword. But the giant sword burst into dispersal, once again turned into countless small swords, shot into the smoke and dust. Ding ding ding. The sound of metal collision continued to sound, and it was accompanied by a clicking sound from time to time. Kuan Yu, don't go too far. A huge blue figure quickly rushed out of the smoke and bounced all the long swords. And Madara's face floating in it is very ugly. Just now, even Susanoo was almost broken. As a last resort, he could only unfold Susanoo completely. But Kuan Yu was just a sword, and it forced him to this point. Not enough, not enough. How can it be fully shown this way? Kuan Yu said with a smile. The long sword in his hand is gone. Others are also shocked. This is Shundao? This move can not only deal with a large number of enemies, even against a single enemy is also quite powerful and fickle. It's an interesting attack, but it requires a lot of control, Tobirama said. That's not the case. Although other people may not be able to do what I do, it is still possible to manipulate a part of it. This is controlled by natural energy, Kuan Yu said with a smile. With Sage Mode's natural energy perception, it can also control a certain number of swords. And this is a sword that has nothing. If some special sealing techniques are portrayed in it, it can have other abilities. It is not so simple and direct that Kuan Yu uses. Okay. Kuan Yu, take out your real strength. Those moves are useless in front of Susanoo, who is completely body. Madara has floated to Susanoo's head. It's already started, didn't you find out? Kuan Yu said. Madara frowned. But he seemed to feel something and suddenly looked towards the sky. The huge sword tip broke through the clouds in an instant and fell towards Madara's Susanoo. Even Madara could see that the sword tip had turned red. Along with the airwave, even the clouds were broken open. This is meteorite. Everyone was shocked and quickly backed away. Once such an attack falls on the ground, one can imagine the consequences. Kuan Yu also flew back a little. This is not a giant sword made of clones made before, and it is not that big. The whole body is composed of yin and yang escape, with weight and hardness. Even because of the lack of preparation time, Kuan Yu also increased the gravity above, allowing the speed to directly break through the limit. The speed of the giant sword is fast, and it is still accelerating. With a flash of red light, Madara's Susanoo was penetrated instantly. Strong vibrations erupted on the ground, as if rolling, splashing huge smoke and dust. Bang! Madara's Susanoo burst out, and his body slowly fell, but his face was very ugly. Susanoo, who was completely complete, was actually cracked by Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu waved his hand, after a gust of wind passed. All the smoke and dust dispersed. A big hole appeared on the ground, but Kuan Yu's sword was gone, and it might have penetrated below the ground. With a blast of swords, a long sword broke out of the ground and flew in front of Kuan Yu. It turns dark red all over, and the surface emits a lot of heat. But as soon as Kuan Yu's eyes condensed, the long sword instantly cooled, and a large amount of heat radiated, causing a heat wave. It's a terrifying attack, so fast, Hashirama said in surprise. Maybe this is not the limit, he didn't spend too much time preparing, Tobirama said thoughtfully. Kuan Yu's body fell to the ground. Haha, interesting, I have to admit, Kuan Yu, you are a genius, but do you think this is enough? Madara said. Kuan Yu seemed to feel something in an instant. As soon as he avoided him, a strong wind drove his hair. But immediately he was hit hard in the stomach. Before he could react, he received another punch in the face. Constant attacks came from all around Kuan Yu, and Kuan Yu tried to fight back. But attacking these clones is useless at all, it can only weaken a part of the attack, and cannot break it at all. And he was only able to find the movements of these tomb avatars in front of him. Hashirama and the others are a little puzzled. It is clear that Kuan Yu had the upper hand before, why he seems to be under an invisible attack, and now he can't even resist. What the hell is that? Shen Luo Tianzhong. Madara's wheel tomb clone finally stopped, but Kuan Yu's hairs stood up. The four directions of repulsion are squeezing Kuan Yu's body, and Kuan Yu will be crushed into pieces in an instant. But at this moment Kuan Yu disappeared, disappearing without warning, and he entered the space. Tobirama's eyes narrowed. This is spatial ability, others can also see it. Madara shook her head. The avatar of the wheel tomb returned to his body, and it was time to use it. Kuan Yu appeared again. It's so risky, I was almost crushed into mud, Kuan Yu said with a smile. There was a burst of heat from his body, and he was repairing the damage he had just received. Just like Madara's round tomb hell is very strong, but Kuan Yu's space ability is not weak, and many attacks that use space ability are useless to him. Forget it. You don't seem to want to fight me. Madara took a look and turned around. As long as Kuan Yu hid in the space, he didn't have all of his attacks, so what else would he fight? He only needs to do his own thing. As for Kuan Yu, he just ignores it. When Infinite Tsukuyomi is launched, even if Kuan Yu is not affected, it cannot be cracked. When he becomes 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he can kill Kuan Yu as well as Obito's spatial ability. Hey, don't go. I don't need it. I just didn't pay attention, Kuan Yu said. Madara turned her head, looked at Kuan Yu, and stopped. I just don't want people to intervene in our fight. I hope you won't run away again, Madara said. Come on. I'll stand here and let you fight, just like just now, Kuan Yu said indifferently. Madara was silent for a moment, and he couldn't figure out what Kuan Yu was going to do. Let him fight? Isn't this looking for death? This is what you said. I said. Kuan Yu smiled on his face. In an instant, Kuan Yu felt an attack coming. There was a big hole in Kuan Yu's body directly, but what was strange was that his body seemed to be made of water, only some water was splashed, and no blood was splashed. With constant attacks, Kuan Yu was directly beaten into disarray. But Kuan Yu didn't care. The water flow gathered under his feet, and Kuan Yu's body was recovering quickly. Secret of hydration, Madara stopped her attack and frowned. How could Kuan Yu know this technique? In this case, physical attacks are meaningless. Fire style. Yanlong, a large number of fires appeared out of thin air. These tomb avatars can use ninjutsu, and even Susanoo. But instantly a barrier appeared around Kuan Yu, directly blocking these flames. What kind of ninjutsu is this? He felt that the temperature in Kuan Yu had not risen. As if his flame was blocked. Wind style. Kuan Yu saw Madara's doubts and explained. Wind style. Madara was taken aback. He didn't feel the chakra of wind. Kuan Yu smiled. He just controlled the air and formed a barrier there so that their particles no longer moved. In this way, the flame will not break through, and even the temperature will not change. This is no longer the application of the wind attribute chakra, it is a more special force, just like the gravity of the earth attribute. The wind attribute controls kinetic energy. As long as Kuan Yu consumes chakra and keeps the air particles no longer moving, the temperature will not pass in. The flame stopped. You don't want to keep defending like this, Madara said lightly. Of course not, Earth-style, gravity. The land around Quan Yu sank instantly, and the scene around him was blurred. It was gravity that affected the air. Then Quan Yu quickly rushed towards Madara. Madara obviously found something wrong, and it was impossible for Quan Yu to rush over like this. And the attack of the avatars of the tomb also followed, but when they approached Quan Yu, their bodies sank, and their speed suddenly slowed down. Madara frowned. Quan Yu's speed was also much slower. He was also affected by gravity, but his speed was still very fast. Although the body of the Wheel Tomb clone is difficult to be destroyed, it is also affected by gravity, and Quan Yu has adapted to this gravity a long time ago, which has a much smaller impact on him. Interesting, Madara looked at Quan Yu, who came not far from him. He was not eager to dodge, he already knew what power Quan Yu was using. Madara's body sank, and Quan Yu hit Madara's face with a punch. Madara wanted to avoid it at this time. It was too late, his body was too heavy to avoid it at all. Bang! Madara was knocked out, but did not fly far because of gravity. Quan Yu followed closely and hit Madara's stomach again. Madara was not knocked into the air this time, but grabbed Quan Yu's arm backhand. It turns out that you prepared this. No wonder you have confidence to beat me. If I'm not mistaken, you still have special moves with fire attributes. Madara looked at Quan Yu and said without any expression. His eyes returned to Mangekyo, and a black flame appeared directly on Quan Yu's body. Huh. Quan Yu was taken aback. But in a blink of an eye, more black inflammation appeared on Quan Yu's body, and she wrapped Madara in instead. Hee. Sure enough, Quan Yu, you really are a genius. You actually want to directly master the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements. The key is that you have done it. The black inflammation on Madara's body gradually extinguished. Quan Yu frowned. In the original book, Madara Sharingan's ability has always been a mystery, but he did not expect that he would actually use Amaterasu. But Sasuke's ability is also Amaterasu. They are both the reincarnation of Indra Chakra. It is not surprising that they have the same ability. It's just that Madara has been useless, or disdainful of it. Yes, this is my confidence. Quan Yu did not hide it either. I'm curious how you did it in such a short time, Madara said with interest. These special single attribute abilities should belong to Bloodline, and Quan Yu has used the special lightning style before. Add hydration, the gravity of the earth style, the barrier of the wind style, and the black inflammation of the fire genus. He mastered the bloodline of the power of the 5 elements, and then the yin and yang that he possessed. He is no different from the previous 3rd generation. But bloodline is not so easy to cultivate. I have the ability to accelerate time in my space. Although it is only a year and a half, I have actually practiced for more than 10 years. Although using this ability consumes a lot of money, I have a tail beast enough to support my cultivation. Isn't it surprising? Quan Yu said with a smile. He didn't mind telling Madara how he practiced. It wouldn't make sense to hide it to this point. It turns out that you can cultivate so many attributes in such a short time. It turns out to be your spatial ability. But even so, I have to admit your excellence. The power of yin and yang and the 5 elements is not so easy to cultivate. Although Quan Yu is naturally in control of yin and yang because of the blue 10-star eyes, the bloodline of the 5 elements is still difficult to cultivate. More importantly, Quan Yu knew what the results would be after practicing in this way. 3rd generation may be an accident, but Quan Yu is definitely not. Otherwise, with his power, he wouldn't care about these weak bloodline powers. Yes, these bloodlines can only be considered weak in Madara's evaluation. How did you know? No one in the ninja world knows the secret of yin and yang and the 5 elements, Madara asked. Isn't Sage of 6 Paths also a master? So I want to try it. Anyway, I have enough time. I didn't expect it to be a surprise. Quan Yu casually teased a reason. Really? Madara obviously didn't believe it. I can give you a chance to admit defeat and witness my changed world with me, Quan Yu said with a smile. Now his master is absolutely active, Madara can't be his opponent. Ha ha ha, Madara laughed wildly. Everyone was startled, they were too far away and did not hear the conversation between the two. It's just that Tobirama's discoloration changed a little. Obviously, he understood the conversation between the two of them from their mouths. Madara let go of Quan Yu's hand and walked away. When Quan Yu used Black Flame, the gravity had disappeared. Quan Yu, do you think you won? No, you didn't. What I want is a well-matched battle. Just as it was just now makes me a little boring, and the doomed ending makes me disinterested, Madara laughed. Kuan Yu has some doubts, what does Madara mean? But he was still going to watch and see what Madara was going to do. Obito, Madara sipped. In an instant, a space-time Uzumaki appeared beside him. Obito spun out from the inside in an instant. Madara took a seal on her hand. Summoning technique. A huge cloud of smoke appeared behind Madara, and a huge golem appeared. Ghetto statue? Could it be? Kuan Yu was surprised. Although 3 tails is in your hands, 1 tail is dead, 8 tails is also destroyed by you, 9 tails can't be found, but I can still resurrect 10 tails and become 10 tails Jinchuriki, the master of the power of yin and yang, Madara said. Obito glanced at Kuan Yu, and instantly took out 3 coffins from his space, as well as a huge weapon. Hey, this is... Kuan Yu looked at the weapon, suddenly startled. This weapon looked like a pointed mouth, and there was something similar to an eye on it. These are the eyes of 3 tails. They were made into weapons and kept in Konoha, Madara said. Kuan Yu realized that 3 tails had always closed one eye. It turned out that its disappearing eyes are here. He has also seen this weapon, which was used by a ninja when Konoha Shinobi fought Kakuzu in the original book. There is no specific introduction in the plot, and he doesn't take this to heart at all. But Kuan Yu couldn't think that this was actually the eyes of 3 tails. A coffin opened, which looked like an old monk. This should be 1-tail Jinchuriki, it seems to be called Fenfu or something. Hehe, that's the case, you continue. Kuan Yu was not prepared to stop Madara. This situation has already formed, and he doesn't care anymore. Even if Madara fails to summon 10 tails, he will do so. The sacred tree is a more important thing in his plan, and what he wants to do with the sacred tree. It's just a little bit ahead now. As for Madara becoming stronger, it is not within his consideration. Oh, I thought you would stop me, Madara said with interest. Although Kuan Yu's current strength is stronger than him, but with 10 tails, he still has the ability to resist. Obito's spatial ability can also provide some help, allowing him time to resurrect 10 tails. But Kuan Yu didn't do it. This surprised him a little. Even in the same 6 paths mode, 10 tails Jinchuriki's chakra definitely surpasses Kuan Yu. What Madara is going to do? This golem gives me a very bad feeling, Hashirama frowned and said. I don't know, but Madara seems to have discovered that Master Kuan Yu has a stronger power. He seems to be 10 tails Jinchuriki, Tobirama said. 10 tails? Isn't it only 9 tails? Everyone looked at Tobirama, so far away they didn't even know what the two were communicating. It may be that weird golem. Tobirama's expression was a bit solemn. Oh, it's a pity that I can't take action in such a battle, Hashirama said regretfully. This body doesn't provide much chakra, although he feels as if he can use some of the power he had in his lifetime. But facing such a battle is obviously not enough. You actually said that. Don't you know how terrible Madara will be after becoming 10 tails Jinchuriki? Even in a normal state, you are completely resurrected and you are not an opponent, Tobirama said helplessly. Rinnegan is not just talking about it. This is the eyes of the legendary sage of 6 paths. What to worry about? We are dead. Just a spectator. Don't you feel nervous if you don't watch Kuan Yu? Hashirama said indifferently. Kuan Yu also turned his head and smiled at Hashirama in the distance. He heard? Hashirama said incredulously. It should be. He doesn't belong to Fan Dao of the ninja anymore, Tobirama said with a sigh. At this time the other 2 coffins have also been opened. It is the golden horn and the silver horn. But they closed their eyes and obviously they were not activated, but Madara didn't need them to be activated, only the chakra in their bodies. As for chakra of 8 tails, Kuan Yu guessed that the broken corner of 8 tails also appeared in the original work. It seems that Madara started preparing very early. Just beating you like this, doesn't it seem that my cultivation is meaningless, and I am a little sorry to myself, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Ha ha ha, Kuan Yu, you really are an interesting person, Madara laughed. Madara has a slight seal. The restraint in Geto statue's mouth fell, and a large number of chains shot out from its mouth, directly binding the 3 coffins and the weapon. Then he pulled it back into its mouth. Done, Madara's eyes lit up. Suddenly the atmosphere began to vibrate, and Geto statue hugged his head and started roaring wildly. A strong air current exploded directly. The Geto statue at this time looked very painful, and the eyes on its forehead were bloodshot and protruding outward. There was even blood flowing down. Kuan Yu's eyes were also slightly solemn, and such strong chakra fluctuations were simply terrifying. Although it's not complete, it's enough. I hope you won't regret it, Madara looked at Kuan Yu and said. Indeed, the power of 10 tails is strong enough, and tailed beast bomb Kuan Yu also needs some special methods to avoid it. Comparing chakra with 10 tails is meaningless. Kuan Yu tried his best to shape tailed beast bomb, which is at most comparable to 10 tails. But 10 tails can launch many pieces. He wouldn't do this, it consumes too much, and it takes a lot of time to recover. Regret is unnecessary, Kuan Yu smiled. He spread his hands, his skin was turning white, and his hair turned white. This is his original appearance, it was only hidden before. The diamond-shaped mark on the center of his eyebrows bulged, and then something like bone appeared and extended to both sides. Branches emerging from the bone are intertwined with each other, forming a structure that resembles a crown. The diamond mark was also wrapped. 1 and 2, up to 9 truth-seeking balls, are formed in Kuan Yu's continuous absorption of natural energy. He is not a tail beast after all, there are not so many chakras. Fortunately, the truth-seeking ball is formed, so there is no need to consume chakra to maintain it. Kuan Yu Master's chakra is barely enough. Now it is only absorbing natural energy to replenish the yin-yang done and chakra just consumed. Sure enough, you have been hiding your strength. But I can also have this kind of power right away, but compared to your way, I'm a trick, Madara said, looking at Kuan Yu, whose appearance had completely changed. He resurrected 10 tails through the 9-tailed beasts, so that 10 tails has all the power of attributes. He becomes 10 tails Jinchuriki and can also create truth-seeking ball. Kuan Yu, on the other hand, achieves fusion in the body through his own master bloodline. In other words, he can synthesize truth-seeking ball independently. Hehe. Chakra is a little inadequate, and I barely managed to be in perfect condition. I had already put 9 tails in the space, Kuan Yu said with a smile. He directly stated his weakness and didn't care that Madara knew it. This is obvious anyway. 9 tails, who was watching by Mount Myoboku, suddenly felt a wave of malice and became cold. But they can only see the picture, not the sound, otherwise 9 tails must swear. Look, I'm not wrong. This kid still hides his strength, 9 tails said triumphantly. This seems to be a move used by 3rd generation, and it doesn't seem to be very strong, Naruto said silently. Snapped 9 tails jumped up and gave Naruto a claw on the back of his head. What are you doing? Naruto aggrieved. Hey, Kurama, you found a fool to be your partner, Shuhei sneered. Shut up, 9 tails gave Shuhei a fierce look. What do you know? Do you think truth-seeking ball is so easy to break? That is, Kuan Yu. Otherwise I can only use my full strength, it's just 1. This is the ultimate power, and Kuan Yu still cultivated himself. He has a deeper understanding of the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements. 9 tails explained. Obviously Kuan Yu disappeared, and the truth-seeking ball broke, Naruto said aggrievedly. They were not there and did not understand how powerful Kuan Yu used to break the truth-seeking ball. Aren't we doing it? Master Kuan Yu's chakra and 10 tails are too far apart, and the speed of synthesizing truth-seeking ball is so slow, Isao said. When this kid can't hold on anymore, we will help him again so that he can appreciate us, 9 tails Tsunere said. Naruto and Jiraiya looked puzzled, they didn't even know what they were talking about. The ghetto statue is still roaring wildly, and the things like branches on its feet are constantly growing. What kind of monster is this? I feel that its chakra is growing endlessly, Tobirama couldn't believe it. Natural energy is also being crazily absorbed by it. Is this 10 tails? Compared to 9 tails, it is even more terrifying, Hashirama said solemnly. That Kuan Yu just looked at that. And what's the change in him? Second Mizukage shook his head and said. He couldn't understand it a bit. Maybe he is waiting for something, Tobirama said. Far away. What a terrifying power, is this 10 tails? Why does it feel like, Orochimaru muttered to himself. Then he looked at Kuan Yu floating in the air. Only now did he know that Kuan Yu had been hiding his strength. Otherwise, 3rd generation wouldn't even be able to threaten him. Hehe, sir, you are still smart, but it doesn't matter. I have also gained this kind of power. If I have the opportunity, I will help you get revenge. Orochimaru shook his head and chuckled. Then he stood there and watched the battlefield over there without speaking. But what he didn't know was that a pair of eyes were watching here not far away. Although it was enough. There were too many accidents in this battle. As time goes by, the clouds in the sky are gathering here. Kuan Yu looked at the sky, and he knew that this was caused by the large absorption of natural energy. 10 tails has not collected enough chakra, and needs natural energy supplementation to become a complete body. But this amount is really horrible, as expected of 10 tails. At this time, the ghetto statue was already lying on the ground, and continued to struggle with pain. And behind it, 10 tails also stretched out, dancing constantly. The 9 eyes on the forehead slowly merged together, and the body is constantly changing, as if it was infused with vitality. Madara frowned, too. It's been too long, and it seems that this is the reason for the lack of chakra, the tail beast. Fortunately, Kuan Yu didn't make a move, otherwise it would be really troublesome. But it's coming soon. The 9 eyes slowly gathered together, and blood kept coming out. 10 tails also kept roaring like a dystopia. In the end, all the eyes merged into a giant red eye. 10 tails' eyelids closed, then suddenly opened. The blood-red light shines in the already dusk world. Kuan Yu squinted his eyes. It was a huge 9-hooked jade rinnegan. The sky was suddenly overcast and the earth was constantly shaking. Storms and lightnings are also constantly forming, and they are heralding the birth of a disaster. In fact, such anomalies are caused by excessive accumulation of natural energy. At the moment 10 tails' eyes appeared, natural energy was madly pulled into 10 tails' body. Madara jumped on the head of 10 tails, and a tissue resembling a vine was connected directly from 10 tails to the back of Madara's head. Let me try the power of 10 tails first. 10 tails, who looked like a reptile, fell silent. A huge eye stared at Kuan Yu not far away. Hey, you wouldn't be thinking. Kuan Yu hasn't finished. A red ray of light from 10 tails' mouth suddenly spouted towards Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu was immediately submerged in the beam of light. The beam of light shot directly into the distance, and I don't know how far, but what can be seen is that a large mountain was directly penetrated. Everyone was stunned. Was hit by such a strong attack, could Kuan Yu still be alive? There was an earth-shattering explosion in the distance. Sasuke was in a cold sweat, and the beam of light passed not far from them just now. If it is affected, the consequences can be imagined. The scope of the previous battle was still relatively small, mainly because the strength was too cohesive. But once 10 tails came out, a random blow was so devastating. Can Kuan Yu bear it? Even Sasuke is a little unconfident. The beam of light slowly disappeared, and a large black ball appeared, hovering there. This is. Hashirama and others looked at the black ball in surprise. The black ball shrank quickly and turned into a truth-seeking ball again, and Kuan Yu appeared. It turned out that he blocked this wave of attacks from 10 tails with truth-seeking ball just now. A normal attack is impossible to destroy the barrier formed by Kuan Yu with 9 truth-seeking balls. This is not affected by the amount of chakra, it is a matter of nature. Can't even let Kuan Yu back down much. Sure enough, it didn't disappoint me. I thought the truth-seeking ball was not as strong as I thought, Madara said, looking at Kuan Yu who reappeared. It turned out that he was just experimenting with the strength of the truth-seeking ball. The following is stronger, Madara said lightly. A huge dark red sphere appeared in 10 tails' mouth, still expanding. I'll go. Do you want to play this big? Kuan Yu said in astonishment. Run! Kuan Yu yelled at Itachi and the others in the distance. Itachi's pupils shrank. Susanoo was turned on immediately, as did Sasuke, and the others were wrapped in it and quickly fled back. Do we want to run away? Hashirama touched his head. We are all dead. What are we going to escape? Tobirama said silently. His brother is a little slow. Everyone can feel the terrifying chakra in this tailed beast bomb. This attack is stronger than before. Tailed beast bomb is sprayed by 10 tails. 2 truth-seeking balls formed a barrier in front of Kuan Yu and caught the tailed beast bomb. But Kuan Yu's body also receded slightly. The other truth-seeking ball once again wrapped Kuan Yu. Then tailed beast bomb exploded. Boom. The scope of the explosion continued to expand, and Hashirama and others were submerged. But Itachi and the others are madly escaping outside. Fortunately, Kuan Yu blocked it for a while, but then it was unpredictable. The dazzling light disappeared, and 10 tails covered its head with its tail. After the explosion ended, the tail was retracted again, and Madara's figure was revealed. And Kuan Yu, who emerged from the barrier formed by the truth-seeking ball, looked at Madara speechlessly. Chakra is amazing. Ha ha ha, it seems that 10 tails attack is really useless for you. Madara laughed. Although there are many chakras in 10 tails, the power is too scattered to cause damage to Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu is also constantly absorbing natural energy, and the royal envoy truth-seeking ball also consumes a certain amount of chakra. What's more, still facing such a strong attack. I know it's meaningless, so I still use it, Quan Yu said dissatisfied. It's hard to resurrect 10 tails. It's a pity not to use it, Madara actually joked. Forehead. Quan Yu's forehead floated across the black line, and he seemed to have heard it somewhere. Stop talking nonsense. Just let me feel the ultimate power. 10 tails suddenly deformed, and then shrank behind Madara, gradually shrinking. Madara absorbed 10 tails. He knew that 10 tails alone didn't make much sense to Quan Yu, and at most consumed some of his chakra. Madara's body armor shattered, and a white robe appeared with some black jade on it. At the same time the skin was turning white, and a piece of bone appeared on his forehead. The hair has also turned white, and it looks similar to Quan Yu. 9 truth-seeking balls appeared behind him instantly. Is this the 6 paths mode? It is really strong, Madara looked at her hands and said. He fell to the ground and suddenly pressed on the ground. A large number of thick roots gush out from the ground and continue to expand. Quan Yu's eyes narrowed. Madara was going to summon the sacred tree. Is this early? Quan Yu floated backwards. There is one thing he has been a little puzzled about. 10 tails should be the same thing as the god tree. But 10 tails is still in Madara's body. Why can he still summon the sacred tree? And this sacred tree is related to Kagaya. Madara also absorbed the sacred tree before being attacked by Black Zetsu and turned into Kagaya. The reason for this, Quan Yu, is not very clear. The sacred tree was still expanding, and its roots rose to the sky, and quickly gathered together. A large number of roots rushed towards Quan Yu. Hey, it's too much. Quan Yu waved his hand, as if there was an invisible sharp blade directly cutting away the roots. But these roots are still pouring toward Quan Yu. Of course Quan Yu knew why these roots were chasing him. This was not controlled by Madara. It was the huge chakra in Quan Yu's body that attracted him, but Quan Yu made it unable to breathe. With the power of Master 6 Paths, he will not just be sucked away chakra. Hashirama and others, who had recovered from the explosion just now, also retreated quickly. They don't want to be affected again. Wood Style. The Wood Style elder brother of this range is afraid that he will have to do his best to do it, Tobirama said. Now the roots of the sacred tree have spread to a large part of the area. How does Madara master Wood Style? Hashirama was also a little confused. But he feels that these roots are still somewhat different from his Wood Style. On the contrary, it is similar to the 10 tails just now. Quan Yu is over there. These roots also stopped after discovering that they could not get close to Quan Yu, and the change of the sacred tree had reached the last moment. Quan Yu looked up to the sky. A giant tree broke straight through the sky, and a giant flower bud was blooming at the top. And what emerged from the flowers was a huge 9-hook jade Rinnegan. This should be the main body of 10 tails, but what is going on with Madara now? At this time, a figure quickly flew towards Quan Yu. It was Madara. Madara stopped not far from Quan Yu. This should have changed from 10 tails, but 10 tails should be in your body. What is going on? Quan Yu asked the doubt in his heart. It's just a body. 10 tails chakra is still inside me, Madara said with a smile. He didn't hide anything because of the hostile relationship between the two, and they just had different ideas. Quan Yu nodded. That's it. He just said how could there be 10 tails? Moreover, this sacred tree is bare and has no branches, obviously not in its complete state. Of course, it may also be the reason for the lack of chakra. These are all subsections, and Quan Yu doesn't care. Do you know where I summoned it? Madara continued. Quan Yu pretended not to understand and shook his head. Infinite Tsukuyomi. The sacred tree can impose illusion on the moon, so that everyone is immersed in illusion, so that there will be no more disputes, and everyone will get what they want, Madara said. Is this kind of world interesting? Quan Yu asked his soul. He really didn't understand. The idea of the Uchiha clan was too extreme. That's better than the pain caused by war. You haven't experienced war, and you don't know how exposed it is, Madara said lightly. And I will also become the god of this world. If you are willing to come, I can share this world with you. In this respect, Madara is not a bad person. There are some means. Forget it, it doesn't mean much. People like puppets, are they still human? I can live for a long time, and war can't happen under my nose, Quan Yu said. He really can't talk about it. What about Sage of 6 Paths? He lived for a long time, didn't he stop it? The war is still going on, and people are greedy animals. I only believe in myself. Let me end this endless dispute, Madara said firmly. I can't say this, even I have desires, let alone other people. But as long as it doesn't go against my heart. Kuan Yu can't say anything. Generally, people like Madara are crazy, and they don't need anyone to understand. Brother. Why are you worrying so much? You don't want to continue the war, it is easy to do with your strength. As for what you do after you die, it's better to find a better heir. Maybe the world will change and there will still be wars. But it's not your fault either. Turn everyone into puppets, and the world will only be cold, the good and the bad will be wiped out by you. That would be really boring. It seems you disagree, Madara said with squinting eyes. Human beings always have to develop. We just need to be ourselves. Maybe someone will think of a better way in the future. Even if human beings are self-destructed, it is not our fault, but even this is better than puppets, which wipes out all human potential. Kuan Yu's words are also self-comforting. Even in the previous life, civilization is as high as possible, but war cannot be avoided. The world is ruthless, it's all about having fun in hardship. All kinds of emotions are mixed, and it is impossible to tell who is right and who is wrong. And what Kuan Yu does is just to guide, slowly changing people's thinking, although it can't solve all the problems. But the general direction is definitely good. He was just a traveler. He was just an ordinary person in his previous life and didn't have such a big revenge. And what Madara did was only a big conflict with his cognition. Maybe this is also the influence of his previous life. Then there is nothing to say, fight. Whoever wins this world belongs to whoever, Madara said. Obviously, seeing that he couldn't explain Kuan Yu, he was ready to go to war. Madara is not a particularly strong mouth, like Ashura's reincarnation mouth is particularly strong. And Madara now feels that she is already at the same height as Kuan Yu, and wants to distinguish between the two. You can't win, Kuan Yu smiled. This is the battle of the Six Paths mode, which has never happened in the history of ninja. The one who has the strongest chakra, and the one who relies on his own master yin and yang in the 5 elements, it is hard to say who is strong and who is weak. Far away. It hasn't started yet, good luck, Hashirama said after falling down. Are you not worried at all, Tobirama said after falling down. Others also fell. What is there to worry about? It seems to be a little bit, it's a big deal to die again, Hashirama smiled and patted Tobirama on the shoulder. Tobirama was speechless, but still fixed his eyes on the two in the air. Others did not speak, watching this unprecedented battle quietly. Oh, Hashirama is here too, hee. Let you see how I defeat everyone and rebuild a new world. Madara appeared in front of Kuan Yu instantly, and the long rod formed by the truth-seeking balls swung towards Kuan Yu. And Kuan Yu also appeared in his hand with a black long staff to block Madara's attack. The airwaves suddenly exploded. I have more chakra than you can't be my opponent, Madara said, looking at Kuan Yu's eyes. Haha, are you? Both of us are in 6 paths mode. We can't compare much. It depends on physical skills. I am very good at this. Kuan Yu's eyes were smiling. Kuan Yu directly opened Madara's stick with his powerful force, and then instantly raised his foot with a high kick and kicked Madara's chin. Kicked Madara directly into the air. Even if the 6 paths mode has greatly strengthened Madara's body, it is definitely not as good as Kuan Yu's body honed under gravity. Kuan Yu, who had just kicked out, disappeared in an instant, and then appeared in front of Madara. The stick in his hand was a set of stabbings against Madara, which made Madara quite embarrassed, and his body was constantly retreating. There were also some scars on her body. Apparently Madara's body strength is very high now. Don't underestimate me, Madara's Rinnegan glared slightly. A repulsive force was applied to Kuan Yu's body, but it was not very strong. But let Kuan Yu's body take a halt. Then the staff violently attacked Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu's offensive was disrupted, and he fought back and forth with Madara for a while, and the fluctuations of the battle continued to spread. Obviously, in terms of physical skills, the 6 paths mode is not comparable to ordinary ninjas. And Madara has gone through so many battles, it can't be completely crushed by speed and strength alone. Although Kuan Yu was also born in physical arts, his combat experience was obviously inferior to Madara. Why do they still use physical skills to attack each other? They should be stronger now, Second Mizukage said. It may have something to do with the little black ball behind them. If they all use this, they won't be able to hurt each other at all, Tobirama said. The terrible defense of truth-seeking ball has been verified by Madara with tailed beast bomb. But he should also have some other abilities. Those black balls give him a very dangerous feeling. Kuan Yu avoided Madara's stick that stabbed him on the head, and with a wave of the long stick in his hand, he forcibly hit Madara's hand and beat Madara's arm. Kuan Yu leaned directly against her body and slammed into Madara's arms, releasing the stick in her hand. Madara was knocked back a bit by the powerful force. Then, gentle fist 8 trigrams, 1,000 palms. Kuan Yu's hand was so fast that he couldn't see the shape of his hand, and he kept attacking Madara's acupuncture points. And with every attack, the agglomerated chakra penetrates Madara's body, exploding countless waves of air behind Madara. Gentle fist. Isn't he from the Senju clan? How could this be? Hashirama said puzzledly. Just as Madara was beaten to the point where she could not resist, Kuan Yu's hand suddenly stopped. Kuan Yu froze there, as if restricted by something. Madara stepped back a little. Gentle fist, I didn't expect you to do this again, Madara said after a few breaths. This set of combos just now really made him a little stunned. The speed was too fast, and the linkage of the moves was perfect. But why does Kuan Yu practice this? With his breathing method, he can break through with his strength, without the need for a second attack. I have half the blood of the Hyuga clan, so there is no doubt about Gentle Fist, Kuan Yu said with a smile. He didn't care that his body was restricted. This is actually his physical exercise program when his space has not yet expanded. At that time, the space was too small, and ordinary exercises could not affect the whole body. So he is practicing Gentle Fist under gravity, which doesn't require much space. And after modification by the Hyuga clan, it can also exercise the whole body very well. That's why Kuan Yukai Master has to be so proficient. Madara was a little unwilling. He had to use his ability twice in a row to deal with Kuan Yu's attack. Open your blue 10-star eyes, I don't want to take advantage of you, Madara looked at Kuan Yu and said. His body is recovering quickly, and the damage caused by Kuan Yu just now was quickly repaired. At this time, Kuan Yu still didn't open his blue 10-star eyes. Obviously Madara felt that using Rinnegan's power was somewhat invincible. Kuan Yu smiled. As you wish, a cross light flashed in Kuan Yu's eyes, and the blue 10-star eyes appeared in his eyes. Huh. What kind of eyes are these? Hashirama said curiously. Blue 10-star eyes. This is a brand new eye developed by Kuan Yu using Mangekyo Sharingan as a base, which is the same level as Rinnegan. Orochimaru, who didn't know where to go just now, appeared next to Hashirama and them. A level with Rinnegan. How did his Sharingan come from? Tobirama asked. He didn't care about Orochimaru's appearance. I got it by accident. I really envy this kind of luck, Orochimaru said with a smile. Kuan Yu opened the blue 10-star eyes, and could already see Madara's chakra avatar in a blur. Kuan Yu kicked them with a sweep of his leg, breaking free. Very well, it seems you can see it. Madara didn't care about Kuan Yu's actions. The wheeled tomb clone returned to Madara's body. After Kuan Yu opened Lan Shixing's eyes, he was able to use Rinnegan's power without hesitation. It's not you who have a clone, so a diamond-shaped mark appeared on the bones of Kuan Yu's forehead, and a purple humanoid figure appeared. And quickly became bigger, and then became exactly the same as Izumi Yu. Even truth-seeking balls slowly appeared behind it. Kuan Yu synthesizes truth-seeking balls independently, so the number of truth-seeking balls is not limited. These were made by absorbing natural energy before. And Madara seems to be able to use only 9 pieces. Kuan Yu guessed that this should be Rinnegan's relationship. Sharon turns on Tensigan, and with the help of the giant Tensigan, only 9 pieces can be generated, which seems to have a certain limitation. Anyway, Kuan Yu didn't have the opportunity to experience this kind of function of the blue 10-star eye. This is the benefit of the power of the 5 elements of yin-yang and 5 elements of the independent master. Even Kuan Yu, if chakra is enough, can still use the same expanding truth-seeking ball as Kei Yoruichi. This is. Madara was also surprised. This avatar of Kuan Yu can also use truth-seeking ball. But even his wheel tomb clone is not good enough. How did Kuan Yu do it? In fact, I prefer to call it Yuan Ying. Kuan Yu smiled on his face. Yuan Ying? Everyone was taken aback. This is a very strange word to them. That's right. This is a product of immortal Taoism. It can use various abilities like the main body, which means that he is as strong as me, Kuan Yu explained. Madara's expression was shocked. If this happens, that means he can use your breathing method. Madara's mouth was a little bitter. This doesn't seem to work, Kuan Yu said awkwardly. After all, this is not a real body, ha ha ha, Kuan Yu touched his head. This is embarrassing. I was bragging just now, and I was immediately beaten in the face. Madara is speechless. If Kuan Yu's clone uses that breathing method again, will he still be slapped? Truth-seeking ball doesn't work. However, the use of such a strong secret technique is quite large, and it is impossible for Kuan Yu to use it a second time. And that clone was also formed by chakra, so the secret arts of the body shouldn't be used either. Madara quickly figured it out. It's a pity, if it works, I won't be your opponent at all, Madara sneered. Fortunately, this is enough, Kuan Yu said with a smile. In an instant, all 18 truth-seeking balls were shot. Madara's eyes were bright. The 4-wheel tomb clones flashed out of him in an instant. However, he was intercepted by Kuan Yu's truth-seeking ball in an instant. 2 truth-seeking balls dealt with a clone, and Kuan Yu was considered worthy of Madara. Also, because of the power of 6 paths on these avatars, Kuan Yu's truth-seeking ball can't annihilate them either. It can only be intercepted. The remaining 10 all besieged Madara. Madara also mobilized all the truth-seeking balls, and the left and right branches barely blocked Kuan Yu's attack. Controlling these truth-seeking balls also made Kuan Yu not distracted, so Kuan Yu only made 9, and the intensity of his control decreased. Madara's wheel tomb clone also has a time limit, and will return to his body after a period of time. If this continues, he simply has no resistance in front of Kuan Yu. 18 truth-seeking balls can completely crush him. And Kuan Yu, there was his clone there, and he didn't do anything. This is equivalent to 2 Kuan Yu besieging Madara. Must find a way to break the game. Madara instantly kicked a truth-seeking ball that Kuan Yu had attacked, and then quickly retreated with force. Kuan Yu's truth-seeking ball chased for a distance and then stopped. Madara's wheel tomb clone also returned to the body. It seems you have found it too, Kuan Yu smiled. Truth-seeking ball's attack range is only 70 meters, and it can't be attacked no matter how far away. This is the decision of truth-seeking ball itself, and Kuan Yu cannot change it. Just using truth-seeking ball, I suffer too much, now I want to fight in a ninja way, Madara said. The way of a ninja? You want to use ninjutsu? Kuan Yu said in surprise. After becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, I am the same as Master Shanshu, chakra is no worse than you. Furthermore, Shanshu can fight against truth-seeking ball without being annihilated. I think this can also harm our bodies and even destroy truth-seeking ball. This is what you told me, Madara said lightly. Yes, Shienju can fight truth-seeking ball and even destroy it, but do you think your ninjutsu is better than mine, Kuan Yu said. Hehe. I admit that you are a genius, but you don't seem to know much about ninjutsu, Madara sneered. He has investigated Kuan Yu's information, and his ninjutsu generally uses chakra to shape his body. Shaping. Wait, it seems Kuan Yu can simulate any ninjutsu. Madara's face changed. Then he looked at Kuan Yu, only to see a smile on Kuan Yu's face. Since you want to use ninjutsu, try this. Sage Art, Dust Escape, Original World Peeling Technique. A cube was formed in Kuan Yu's hands. Dust Escape. How could he use Dust Escape? Second Tsuchikage said in shock. This is the elimination of bloodline, who has become a master at such a young age. This is the ability of his eyes. It can imitate any ninjutsu, including bloodline. As long as he has seen it, what a powerful ability this is. Orochimaru had envy in his eyes. Master's ninjutsu has always been his dream, and Kuan Yu did it with a single ability. What? Second Tsuchikage couldn't believe it. Everyone was speechless. This ability can kill all ninjas in seconds, and the eyes of the same level as Rinnegan really pervert. Madara was shocked and quickly turned into a barrier with truth-seeking ball to block her in front of her. He didn't dare to directly absorb this power, which was mixed with natural energy, and it would still be annihilated when absorbed into the body. Chen Dun directly hit the truth-seeking ball. Madara could feel that the truth-seeking ball was being consumed, but the speed was not fast. This kind of attack power was too grave. He just needs to protect his body. In the end, the huge dust escape dissipated in a burst of white light, and did not cause any harm to Madara. If that's the case, then you try mine, Sage Art, Lan Dun Guangfang. Madara made a seal on her hands and spit out a purple light from her mouth, sweeping towards Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu was also surprised. This move appeared in the original, and the black rod formed by Naruto truth-seeking ball was instantly cut off. It is a very powerful attack, but Kuan Yu's clone still used all the truth-seeking ball to greet him. All the truth-seeking balls gathered together, and the purple light cut directly in. But this kind of attack is not physical, and the light swept directly on the body. The clone was cut open. However, Kuan Yu shook his feet and jumped directly into the sky to avoid the attack. Ha ha ha, sure enough, truth-seeking ball is not invincible, Madara laughed. Kuan Yu slowly fell. He looked at Madara and shook his head. He had never seen anyone who wanted to die so much. His attack directly declared the fierce battle afterwards, and truth-seeking ball is no longer an absolute defense. Kuan Yu's clone was restored, and some of the destroyed truth-seeking ball was restored to its original state, only one missing. Then he narrowed back to Kuan Yu's eyebrows. Others were also stunned. It turns out that this truth-seeking ball that can withstand the tailed beast bomb can also be destroyed. Orochimaru's eyes flashed too. This situation directly disrupted his plan. He also thought that truth-seeking ball was almost an absolute defense before. Only Kuan Yu's physique beyond the limit can be destroyed, and now Madara's bloodline ninjutsu can also do it. What? I'm worried that the clone will be destroyed by me. Madara looked at Kuan Yu withdrawing the clone and smiled. I wanted to play with you, but it doesn't seem to work anymore, Kuan Yu said, shaking his head. Huh? Madara frowned. He has a bad feeling. My master has all the attributes and became bloodline in parallel. You think my ninjutsu is not strong enough, it's just that I am useless. The truth-seeking ball behind Kuan Yu was taken back by him and transformed into chakra again. Sage art, lightning style, the black thunder destroys the world. Kuan Yu stretched out his hand, and a black ball shot towards Madara instantly. This is not truth-seeking ball. Madara felt a devastating breath. It's similar to truth-seeking ball, but it gives him a sense of horror. The speed of the black ball is very fast, and black lightning is already filling it. Madara retreated quickly, but the black ball directly exceeded the 70-meter distance limit and continued to shoot at him. This surprised him. Madara's truth-seeking ball turned into a stick and shot directly onto the black ball. It is impossible for him to let this kind of attack come to him, he wants to detonate it in advance. The black ball was detonated as he wished, and a large number of black thunders erupted directly. The area was submerged in an instant, and the ear-piercing thunder resounded all around. And Madara quickly backed away. He felt his truth-seeking ball disappear. As if the moment of contact disappeared. This made his heart sink. It was a terrifying attack, and even the truth-seeking ball was not instantly annihilated. The black thunder disappeared, and a deep hole appeared under the ground. Everything there is gone. The origin of the truth-seeking ball's ability is 5 attributes, which are stabilized by cooperating with yin and yang to escape. A black ball appeared again in Kuan Yu's hand. Transformation. From water style, floating, gravity, movement from earth style, kinetic energy manipulation and decomposition from wind style, burning and annihilation from black flame, destruction and healing from lightning style, vitality from the yang, control, from the will to hide. You don't even understand these. Everything is controlled by instinct. What do you compare with me? The black ball in Kuan Yu's hand broke up instantly and turned into a ring. In the middle of the ring is a blend of gold and purple, and on the ring, there are transparent water, yellow soil, circulating wind, burning fire, and bursting thunder. Decomposed. Madara muttered to herself. This kind of master is absolutely impossible for him. He can use all attributes, and even merge some attributes. He couldn't do it completely. Only people like Kuan Yu who have all the attributes can do it. And Kuan Yu's theory also shocked everyone, including Tobirama, who became the inventor of ninjutsu. This is the first time that someone has done such a perfect control of the power of yin and yang in the 5 elements. Then all the chakras are united and transformed into truth-seeking ball again. Then the truth-seeking ball turned directly into water, and then turned into yellow soil, circulating wind, burning fire, and bursting thunder. Various attributes are constantly circulating on the truth-seeking ball, and the last thunder is the black ball that Kuan Yu just used. The highly compressed power of truth-seeking ball directly strengthens a certain attribute and expands its power infinitely. This is the usage of truth-seeking ball. Madara, can you do it? Kuan Yu's words echoed in Madara's ears. Let him lose consciousness for a while. Original. I lost. Awesome. Even the old man of 6 paths doesn't have a master, Nine Tails exclaimed. Although they can't hear the sound, they can still see the changes in the truth-seeking ball in Kuan Yu's hands. Of course, understand what is going on. Isn't it just transforming attributes? Kuan Yunung has all the attributes of master. Isn't this what it should be? Naruto touched his head and said. It's not easy. Truth-seeking ball has always been used as a weapon or shield. No one has ever thought about how it is synthesized. And Quan Yu understands this situation and even breaks it down, which shows that his understanding of all attributes has reached the peak. It can be converted between all attributes, bringing the highly compressed energy of truth-seeking ball to ultimate. Nine Tails also had to marvel at Quan Yu's thoughts. Originally, he thought Quan Yu just wanted to master the power of yin and yang and the five elements, thus fusing truth-seeking ball. Unexpectedly, he had already thought of how to use the power of truth-seeking ball. This is a qualitative gap. Originally, truth-seeking ball had all the attributes, and the energy was compressed to ultimate. So it has a strong defense power, and even the tailed beast bomb cannot be destroyed. But Quan Yu directly transformed all the attributes into one kind. How terrifying it was. I can't even imagine it. Everyone's eyes are shaking. Can this be done by humans? Damn it. Obito, we should do it, Obito said, absolutely lost. Obito shouted, who was still absent-minded. Obito is sober. But is this really something people can fight against? Obito felt timid in his heart. Don't be afraid, his attack can't break through the space yet. We still have a chance to kill him with that ability, Ju said viciously. It's horrible. Can this be done by humans? Now he can only be stopped by letting his mother come out, and even the mother may not have much to do. Quan Yu can only be consumed by a large amount of chakra. This is also the reason why it is still hopeful. There are too few chakras in Quan Yu. It is impossible for Quan Yu to use similar attacks too many times. But this is scary enough. Surrender, actually you too. Quan Yu frowned, and then moved to the side in an instant. And where Quan Yu was just now, a space-time Uzumaki appeared immediately. Obito, do you want to die? Quan Yu said while looking at Obito on the ground. Obito was stabbed with a murderous look in Quan Yu's eyes. However, he gritted his teeth and continued to launch Kamui. Madara would definitely have to be cleaned by Quan Yu if he was defeated. Sooner or later, he would die. Master Madara, Infinite Tsukuyomi, Obito shouted. As long as they use Infinite Tsukuyomi, their plan is complete. Even if they are not Chuan Yu's opponents, they can hide. He didn't believe that Quan Yu could still chase into his space. Madara was awakened. Quan Yu frowned. But Kamui of Obito also followed, and Quan Yu had to avoid it again. Obito, who has two eyes, activates Kamui too fast, and even Quan Yu must pay close attention. The force of the dislocation of space as Quan Yu will also be injured. He hasn't been able to resist the damage of space. Quan Yu waved his hand and an invisible attack was thrown out by him. The ground was cut open immediately. But the attack had no effect on Obito, he turned on hollow. Hurry up. Obito roared wildly. Madara also knew that if they drag on like this, they will definitely die, and Obito won't last long. But his plan must be completed. Then he quickly flew towards the sacred tree. I want to use Infinite Tsukuyomi, dreaming. A truth-seeking ball appeared in Quan Yu's hand, and then instantly became invisible, with a single wave at the sacred tree. Click before Madara moved to the sacred tree was cut off. This makes Madara also startled. The sacred tree slid down, then fell, making a loud noise. I'll take care of you later. Quan Yu glanced at Madara and moved quickly, avoiding Kamui and Obito. At the same time, he quickly approached Obito. But immediately a Uzumaki absorbed Obito in. Escaped, Quan Yu was taken aback. Forget it. Solve Madara first, Quan Yu Gong was about to leave. A burst of space distortion affects him, forcing Quan Yu to avoid it again. Then he looked at Obito who appeared in the distance. You are looking for death. Quan Yu was furious. This is endless. Obito obviously wanted to play guerrilla tactics and held Quan Yu. Quan Yu's speed exploded in an instant, and he kept moving and flew towards Obito. Obito couldn't lock Quan Yu this time, sweating on his forehead in a hurry. He didn't dare to use hollow in front of Quan Yu, he couldn't escape Quan Yu's attack range at all. When the time comes, he will undoubtedly die. Reluctantly, he entered his space again. It's just a little bit closer. Quan Yu's head grew bigger, and his anger became more intense. He has a way to restrict Obito from entering the space, but since the distance is too short, Obito won't give him a chance at all. But he still forced himself to calm down. Since he wants to play, then play thoroughly. There was a cold light in his eyes. He didn't act anymore, just avoiding Obito's Kamui. You said that if you absorb this, you can get the same power as Madara. Orochimaru looked at the giant tree in front of him. I know you have Rinnegan, if you dare, you can get it, absolutely said quickly. Haha, Orochimaru laughed twice. Kuan Yu is being held back now and will not come for the time being, he still has time to think about it. He probably guessed the absolute idea, and it was nothing more than letting him and Madara deal with Kuan Yu together. Although Kuan Yu is strong enough, chakra has always been a weak point, so they still have a chance. But you must use infinite Tsukuyomi after absorbing, absolutely said coldly. So this is the power in front of you, I agree, Orochimaru said with a smile. Even if he couldn't fight against Kuan Yu, he still had other preparations, and he couldn't escape. No, this is my battle. Madara's body fell, and he also discovered the unique Orochimaru here. He looked at Orochimaru coldly, then looked towards Ju. Ju smiled in his heart. I also found out that he also has Rinnegan's when he found half of his teacher's body, Ju said. This is a good reason he has found for a long time. So, I give you a chance to help me, Madara looked at Orochimaru and said. If Orochimaru disagrees, he doesn't mind killing him first. But he thinks Orochimaru will definitely agree, but Kuan Yu has enemies with him. Yes, my teacher has left me with good things, and I am not short of chakra, Orochimaru smiled. Although absorbing the sacred tree can obtain a stronger chakra, no amount of chakra is enough to see in front of Kuan Yu. He and Kuan Yu were originally hostile, and it was right to help Madara. Seeing that the goal was achieved, Madara didn't say anything, just clicked on the sacred tree, and quickly absorbed the sacred tree. The sacred tree is the medium for displaying infinite Tsukuyomi. After the sacred tree fell, the sacred tree must be absorbed into the body to display infinite Tsukuyomi. Ju saw this scene and smiled. Kuan Yu was equal to the connection and helped him. Kuan Yu stood in the air in the distance, staring at a few people coldly. The sacred tree also slowly disappeared into Madara's hands. Kuan Yu-kun, it seems that we need to get to know again. A white snake crawled out of Orochimaru's sleeves. The seal on the forehead of the white snake was quickly lifted. Then the crack opened suddenly, and a blood-red Rinnegan appeared in it. It turns out that Orochimaru has been hiding Rinnegan here, and he also added a seal, so that Madara was not discovered. Rinnegan. Kuan Yu was surprised. Are you surprised? I used Sasuke's cells and Madara-sama's cells to create a large number of clones and then cultivate consciousness, use illusion to create memory, so that I get a large number of Sharingan, and then merge with each other to form a broken Mangekyo. Orochimaru paused, and he stretched out his long tongue and licked his lips. But I'm not satisfied, I know I can't fight you this way. So I continued to merge, but still did not achieve my goal. What I get is a pair of Mangekyo with strong pupil power, I can feel it is a little bit worse. So. Orochimaru smiled. So you fuse the two Mangekyo together, Madara said lightly. Using my cells for experiments, Madara frowned. Hehe, it's not just yours, I didn't let Kuan use, Orochimaru said as if embarrassed. It's so interesting, you don't think that with a Rinnegan is my opponent, Kuan Yu said after falling down. Orochimaru's method of acquiring Rinnegan is well understood. The clone he made is actually considered to belong to the Uchiha clan. Sharingan fusion is actually a small Tensigan similar to Kuan Yu. It also came through the fusion of a large number of Byakugan. Even he did not expect that Orochimaru would obtain Rinnegan in this way. At this time, a space Uzumaki appeared next to Madara, and Obito quickly appeared. He gasped heavily, obviously using Kamui frequently would consume him a lot. Of course not. Thanks to your teacher who killed my teacher and left me half of the body, Orochimaru said. Huh. Kuan Yu was taken aback. That half of the corpse is still alive, even the chakra of 8 tails is still there, which gives me a chance, Orochimaru said. Your habit of picking up corpses. Kuan Yu was speechless. He didn't expect that only half of the corpse of 3rd generation was still alive. When Madara appeared, Kuan Yu ignored the already dead 3rd generation. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru picked up a bargain. And I was surprised to find that the ghost Loya in it is surprisingly similar to 10 tails, ha ha ha. Kuan Yu doesn't need to guess that the 3rd generation is because of the relationship between Gui Loya, and the body is still active. So 8 tails didn't die, but Orochimaru got it. Orochimaru's skin became whiter, and bones resembling dragon horns appeared on his head, and the truth-seeking ball also emerged from its back. Hashirama and others were speechless again. When did it become so easy to become strong? It was strange enough to have 2, but now there is a 3rd one. But in the eyes of others, this is already the 4th. Orochimaru is actually better than 3rd generation, and 3rd generation's control power is too rough. But Orochimaru has Rinnegan, which means that he can also obtain fairy magic like Madara, and can better control the power in the body. Kuan Yu guessed that Gui Loya should be related to 10 tails. Absorbing bloodline should be the same as 10 tails absorbing tail beasts. Various tail beasts also have the power of bloodline. That's why 10 tails Jinchuriki can master the power of yin and yang in the 5 elements. Ghost Loya should be part of the active tissue left by 10 tails, so it has this power. Random Orochimaru is equivalent to sealing itself a small 10 tails, and also possesses a chakra of a whole tail beast. 2 against 1, Kuan Yu, your shortcomings are very clear. Chakra is not enough. As long as we keep consuming you, you will definitely lose, Madara said. It makes sense, but I still want to try, Kuan Yu said indifferently. He didn't think he would lose. The big deal was to forcibly activate the 7th layer. After this period of time, his body also recovered a little. What's more, he still has room. Hey, do you need me to help you? Your situation is very difficult, a voice came into Kuan Yu's mind. Kuan Yu was startled. This is the voice of 9 Tails. In fact, 9 Tails has always been able to feel the outside world, and it has injected the most chakra into Kuan Yu's body. That's why I installed a wave on Naruto's side. How can you help me? Kuan Yu asked in his heart. In fact, it is a bit troublesome now, his chakra is indeed not enough. This also needs to be coupled with Obito's space ability to sneak attack. This also needs to be careful. But he also has space, and he is still a little confident if he can hide. You have a temper. Chase into my space. Remember what I said I want to give you. We have prepared it in advance. It is in our chakra. You have to thank me well, 9 Tails Tsunere said. This is what it planned long ago, and it can be regarded as a kind of recognition for Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu suddenly understood that 9 Tails had already been prepared in advance. But there are only 4 of them, and obviously they have to pay more. Although 9 Tails must have paid the most, it also has the most. But Kuan Yu was very grateful. Thank you, Kuan Yu said softly. You're welcome. Then Kuan Yu felt something pouring into his clone. Chakra, the tail beast in 100 healings mark, is also integrated into Kuan Yu's clone. Kuan Yu closed his eyes slightly. He is fully entering the mental state of sage mode. Hee. The show has begun, 9 Tails of Mount Myoboku smiled. I can see that Naruto's body is cold. What the hell is 9 Tails doing? Huh. Madara frowned. Kuan Yu, what does this mean? Waiting for them to attack. However, he still didn't make a move. Kuan Yu was too dangerous, and he might be killed if he was not careful. And Orochimaru was not ready to do it now, and he was not very sure about it. Maybe he had to escape. And the reason why Kuan Yu is so bold here and dared to merge in front of Madara and the others is that the fusion of the original consciousness is very fast. The spiritual fluctuation of his fairy state is too in line with the original will. It didn't take long for Kuan Yu to open his eyes, and he felt completely different. His spirit is stronger. No, it's the soul. This gave Kuan Yu this kind of satisfaction, as if he was full of power. But Kuan Yu knew that this was just an illusion, and the original will reach the limit, which allowed him to decompose natural energy more quickly. The absorption rate is also greatly increased, and it can also store more chakra and yin-yang escape. Now he is a complete member of the Otsutsuki clan. Still the strongest, the kind that has reached the limit. Compared with other Otsutsuki, he is also different. He can transform natural energy through fairy magic, which they can't do. Madara and Orochimaru in front of them can also absorb natural energy, but all of them have something to do with 10 Tails. They don't have the cultivation of their own master Shanshu. So they did not merge the original will. It takes a long time for them to slowly merge the original will. But Kuan Yu wouldn't tell them this. Madara, I will ask you one last time. Are you sure you want to use infinite Tsukuyomi? Kuan Yu said seriously. You have to think about the consequences. At this point, what can I do to hesitate? Madara sneered coldly. Today it is not Kuan Yu who is dead, they are alive. There is no second way to go. He has been preparing for such a long time, but he won't just give up like that. No matter how strong Kuan Yu is, infinite Tsukuyomi will not be relieved without 10 Tails. What's more, they are not certain to lose. Then act quickly, I'll wait for you, and see the legendary infinite Tsukuyomi. Kuan Yu looked at the Jew behind Madara, showing a meaningful smile. Jew's body tightened. He knew Kuan Yu was looking at himself, and what he meant by what he said. Are you not going to stop it? He pays so much attention to himself, does he know something? Impossible. It is impossible for him to know these things, then why? Regardless, the mother must be resurrected. Never secretly cruel in my heart. Madara was also startled when he heard Kuan Yu's words. He originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to perform infinite Tsukuyomi in front of Kuan Yu. But Kuan Yu didn't even want to stop it. Can he disarm infinite Tsukuyomi? This is obviously impossible. Why is that? Orochimaru doesn't mind. This kind of illusion can't be effective on him. Otherwise Madara would have been released long ago. This shows that Kuan Yu will not be affected by this technique. He participated in this matter. One is to solve the problem of losing Kuan Yu, and the other is that this matter is very interesting, so he can't help but want to participate. A blue chakra appeared on Madara and wrapped Obito, and Obito disappeared. Obito's Mangekyo is also an important combat power, which is very threatening to Kuan Yu and will not let him be controlled by infinite Tsukuyomi. Then he snapped off the bone plate of his forehead, and a blood-red 9-hook jade Rinnegan appeared on Madara's forehead. I hope you don't regret it, Kuan Yu shook his head. Madara is hopeless. I never regret. Madara looked up at the moon in the sky. After this battle, it is now night. A full moon is quietly swaying this white light, shining on the world. Kuan Yu also looked up. It was about to start. He doesn't know what infinite Tsukuyomi has to do with Kaguya's resurrection, but he knows that this is an important ceremony, and even Kaguya's will appear at this time. I don't know how the Sharon on the moon is reacting now. Is it also watching here? What a great person, said a young man who was standing in front of a huge yellow sphere. I saw that his eyes were also a pair of Byakugan, and they were all shocked. He is the Otsutsuki Sharon, and he has already felt the changes in the shinobi world. The giant Tensigan can see everything happening below. But now he can't do anything. There are 3 people, and he is not an opponent. However, he decided to destroy the shinobi world and create a new world. This was the task assigned by his ancestors and his reason for existence. Will not change because these people are too strong. It seems that afterwards, I have to prepare too, he said lightly, his eyes full of indifference. Madara looked at the moon in the sky. Let's merge into one now. Rinnegan, the 9-gold jade on his forehead, widened. Kuan Yu could feel a strong pupil force shooting directly into the sky, and then the moon in the sky instantly changed into the appearance of the 9-gold jade Rinnegan. In the blur, Kuan Yu saw a shadow. Then a violent white light burst out, and Kuan Yu felt a force trying to invade his consciousness, but he was immediately blocked by him. The black Yoruichi at this moment turned into daylight, and everyone looked towards the sky. In the city of the sky, Nagato looked at the white light in the sky and wrinkled his eyes slightly. You don't need to see that this is infinite Tsukuyomi, but you in impure world reincarnation will not be affected, but others will be in trouble. Kuan Yu walked out from behind Nagato. Can't stop it? Nagato asked. Of course there is a way, Kuan Yu smiled. Then a lot of blue chakra emerged from Kuan Yu. This is Susanoo's chakra. What appeared in the Sky City was Kuan Yu's wood-style clone, which was his last resort to protect this place. It's not far from Kuan Yu, who can pass chakra through a black stick. Let the clone use Susanoo to cover the Sky City. As for other people, he can't control so much, and he will solve it later. Susanoo's chakra directly enveloped the entire Sky City, and the light from the moon could no longer be cast in. There was also a panic in the Sky City, but Kuan Yu ignored it. This process will need to continue for some time. This light is really beautiful. Orochimaru felt an invasion of will, but it didn't affect him. God, the tree world is born, Madara seals again. Then Kuan Yu saw the distance and hit Sasuke and Itachi of infinite Tsukuyomi. Huge roots appeared around him, and then stretched out many straps to wrap them up and hung them from the tree. Ha ha ha. Kuan Yu sees it. This is the world I created, Madara said with a laugh. Hashirama and others next to him are a bit unclear, so, isn't it just the moon coming out of light? What use is this? But they knew it would never be that simple, but they were not affected. Kuan Yu did not speak. Hey, you didn't even hit infinite Tsukuyomi, but it just so happened, Hashirama, you can take a good look at the world I created. Madara looked at the other sober shadows in surprise. But thinking that they are already dead, and it's normal to miss them. The ninja village you created is wrong. Although the ninja world is progressing, wars are still happening. The first time, the second time, the third time, I have had enough of this world. And now, I let everyone enter the infinite dream, eliminate all disputes, and achieve peace. I am right. I want you to see the world with your own eyes. Madara said excitedly. At this time, the white light was slowly dissipating, and Madara also put away Susanoo's chakra. You. What did you do? Hashirama frowned. He used illusion techniques to draw everyone in the ninja world into the dream state, realizing the so-called hypocritical peace, Kuan Yu said lightly. Hehe. Whether it is hypocritical or true, there can be no more war in the world. Madara didn't care what Kuan Yu said. Hashirama and others were also shocked. This means that everyone is controlled by Madara. Cut. It doesn't make any sense. Why don't you do it yet? If you don't come, I am here, Kuan Yu said disdainfully. Hehe. You are the last obstacle. Wait for me to solve you. Madara's body was shocked. In addition to Kuan Yu, everyone's eyes appeared incredible. Absolutely. What are you doing? Madara looked at his chest incredulously, and a black hand penetrated. Hey, Kuan Yu, you really know something. Definitely ignored Madara, but looked at Kuan Yu and said. Absolutely, you betrayed me, you were created by me, why? Madara felt that she couldn't move, and the power in her body was limited. He wasn't created by you. I said you don't regret it, just to remind you, but you don't listen to persuasion, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Orochimaru stepped back a few steps upon seeing this, but the situation is a little different now. Obito also looked blank. Obito kills, Madara shouted. Not so easy. A stream of black jelly gushes directly from under Obito's feet, and before Obito can react, it wraps up half of his body. Obito's body stiffened, his chakra hadn't recovered, and the missed attack on Madara also left his brain blank. I didn't expect that he would definitely be shot at him. His body couldn't move in an instant. All of this is to resurrect my mother, and you Uchiha Madara is just a pawn in my hand, Ju said with a smile. No, it's impossible. Madara couldn't believe it. He didn't believe that he was absolutely used. There is Sage of Six Paths on the Ming Ming stele. You are talking about the stone monument of the Uchiha clan. It has been modified by me long ago, and the conditions for resurrecting my mother are Rinnegan, 10 Tails Jinchuriki, and Infinite Tsukuyomi, said absolutely sinister. I have given you many opportunities, but you still chose this way. Kuan Yu shook his head and said. No, I don't believe it, Madara said angrily. He wants to struggle, but his body has been completely restricted or even eroded, and he can't do much at all. Logically speaking, it is impossible for Peerless to do this. He has the power of 6 paths in his body. But for some reason, the chakra in his body was not under his control, as if there was a stronger force controlling it. Obito also had a face of disbelief, and even extended it full of horror. It turned out that everything they did was used by others. Kuan Yu. I'm very curious about how you knew and why didn't you stop me? Ju looked at Kuan Yu, his eyes a little solemn. The legendary goddess Kagaya. I also want to meet. Otherwise you have worked hard for so long, it would be too boring to be destroyed by me, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Isn't this what you hoped for? You will see, Ju said, narrowing his eyes. The black tissue began to spread from Madara's chest, and black Zetsu also softened into a spread wrapped around Madara. The ground was cracking constantly, and a large amount of chakra emerged from the ground. This is the chakra of the person controlled by Infinite Tsukuyomi. White tumors appeared on Madara's body, and her body kept swelling. At the last moment, Madara looked at Kuan Yu. He didn't ask Kuan Yu to help him, but said, Am I wrong? Kuan Yu, I hope you can kill me. Then he was overwhelmed by the ever-proliferating black. Long white hair floated out, and the black ball that Madara turned into was slowly weakening. Obito's body was also controlled by him again. He watched this scene in horror and didn't know what to do. What they conspired for so long was actually a scam. How did this make him accept it? Orochimaru frowned slightly. The situation is a bit uncomfortable. He stepped back some distance, ready to escape at any time. Even Madara was counted. And Kuan Yu seemed to know something, which made him feel a little uneasy. Hashirama and others also looked astonished. This change was so fast that even they couldn't understand it. Kuan Yu didn't have any expressions. The black sphere turned into a human form, still shrinking slowly and rapidly. Eventually a woman with long hair and a large white robe appeared. She also has a pair of bony horns on her head. Her forehead is Rinnegan, she has white skin, and her eyes are closed. Then her eyes opened suddenly, and a pair of Byakugan appeared in front of everyone. This is Otsutsuki Kagaya, who is still resurrected. But she saw Kuan Yu as soon as she opened her eyes, and then frowned. Is the one who arrested me here? Orochimaru glanced at her eyes. I haven't seen you. Are you a newborn Otsutsuki? Kagaya looked at Kuan Yu ahead. Mother, he is not Otsutsuki. He is a descendant of Hakata. You have to be careful of him. He is very strong, Black Zetsu said from Kaguya's wide sleeves. The offspring of Yui. Kaguya frowned. It's impossible, he is already a complete Otsutsuki. Byakugan flashed in Kaguya's eyes. Kuan Yu felt like he was seen through, and the blue 10-star eyes lit up, blocking Kaguya's sight. What? Absolutely stunned. The complete Otsutsuki. This means that there is no difference between him and his mother, the only difference is 10 tails. Hehe. You don't think I would dare to release Kaguya without any certainty, Kuan Yu said with a smile. The Otsutsuki clan has a rule not to harm each other, and I would like to share this world with you, Kaguya said without any expression. Mother. I couldn't believe it. Kaguya means not preparing to fight. Does my mother already know that I can't defeat Kuan Yu? As far as I know, you seem to be a traitor, Kuan Yu said directly. He had no idea about cooperation or something. Kaguya frowned. She knows what a complete Otsutsuki means, but she is not too scared yet. She has 10 tails, and the chakra of the person in front of her can't match her at all. Since your excellency is unwilling, then become my food. Die. Kaguya suddenly stretched out a thick bone spear behind him, and when he lifted both hands, 2 bone spurs were shot out instantly. Kuan Yu frowned. This is the co-killing of Grey Bones, which is the bloodline of Kimimaro's master. But Kaguya is more powerful to use. Once shot, the body will directly turn into debris. It is said that Kimimaro is because of this ability, which leads to appearance bloodline disease. Kuan Yu's stature flash, they instantly disappear, escaped the bone spurs. Then he appeared directly behind Kaguya, and a black stick appeared in his hand to stab Kaguya. Spatial ability. This is the ability of his eyes. He hasn't fully mastered his own power. Kaguya's eyes slanted slightly, and she knew Kuan Yu had appeared behind her. The bone spurs behind her stretched out instantly and pierced Kuan Yu's body. And Kuan Yu flashed again and disappeared. He appeared in front of Kaguya again, facing Kaguya. He would not fail to use his spatial ability. But Kaguya eyes of a condensate, a surge of repulsion, Yu Quan will instantly bounce. Young Otsutsuki, you don't have the power of the real master. You are not my opponent, Kaguya said. Hehe. I don't seem to be familiar with it, Kuan Yu stopped and said while floating in the air. Other Otsutsuki seem to use similar space shuttle capabilities. And not all of Otsutsuki have 10 tails, but they seem to be able to open 9-hook Jade Rinnegan. It stands to reason that Kuan Yu has reached the limit, and also has the same level of blue star eyes as Rinnegan. Even Kuan Yu has the bloodline of the 5 elements of yin and yang in his body, but he can't evolve into a bloody snare. The master is similar to the power of the 9-goad Jade Rinnegan. Their ability to kind of space shuttle in space than Kuan Yu only 200 meters of the shuttle more easy to use. Kuan Yu do not understand how this is masters. Then try others, Kuan Yu in the hands of the emergence of a black ball. Be careful, mother, he can transform truth-seeking ball into any attribute and launch a terrible attack, Black Zetsu reminded. Sage art, lightning style, black thunder impact. Immediately, black thunder and lightning appeared on the truth-seeking ball, and they quickly gathered together, turned into a thick black thunder, and rushed towards Kaguya. Kaguya frowned, she could feel the power of annihilation black thunder above. This is no ordinary attack. A space door appeared next to her, and she stepped in an instant. Kuan Yu found out that he underestimated Kaguya. She is definitely not as slow in opening the space as in the original work, and even moving fast. Could it be that the water was released while fighting with Naruto and the others? Or she didn't put Naruto in their eyes at all? And Kuan Yu should be more valued by her, so that she can do her best? Kaguya disappeared and Kuan Yu no longer controlled the Black Thunder. The Black Thunder exploded directly there, and it immediately flooded there, and even the air molecules were annihilated. Kuan Yu turned around and a black stick appeared in his hand, blocking the black stick that Kaguya stabbed. Kaguya appeared in a hollow behind him. Although Kaguya's breath is well hidden, Kuan Yu also has a 360-degree angle of view, and Kaguya's sneak attack can be noticed. Sage art. The sword of dust escape, a stick-like dust escape appeared in Kuan Yu's other hand, and it stabbed Kaguya. But it was immediately held by Kaguya's other hand. Even Kuan Yu was shocked. Can the dust of Shanshu be held? But the strange thing is that Kaguya's hand has not been broken down. Kuan Yu disappeared again, avoiding Kaguya's tangled hair. Kuan Yu appeared in the distance. Haha, you think my mother can be hurt by this simple ninjutsu, Black Zetsu said with a big smile. Some trouble, Kuan Yu frowned. Indeed, he is a bit overconfident. A large amount of natural energy is absorbed by Kuan Yu and quickly transformed into chakra. From the beginning to the present, Kuan Yu has been absorbing natural energy to replenish himself. After Yuan realized the limit, his chakra reserves have increased a lot. Up to now, it has not been filled. Unexpectedly, you can directly absorb natural energy, Kaguya said lightly. She was able to do it through 10 tails, but Kuan Yu obviously didn't. There is nothing like 10 tails in his body, on the contrary. She glanced at Orochimaru next to her, and Orochimaru stepped back cautiously. I don't have time to pay any attention to him now. I will solve Kuan Yu first. Once he understands how to use the power of the wedge, it will be very troublesome. This is a celestial technique. Otsutsuki who only knows power cannot be a master, but you are really good enough, Kuan Yu said. Kaguya's spatial ability is indeed difficult enough. Hey, Kuan Yu, you regret it first, it's too late, Black Zetsu said with a smile. Kuan Yu did not speak, and a truth-seeking ball appeared in his hand again. Sage art, fire style, hell of black flame. The truth-seeking ball in Kuan Yu's hand showed a black flame-like substance, and then was shot by Kuan Yu. Amaterasu. Kaguya frowned. This is different from ordinary Amaterasu, and its nature is more powerful. Like the black thunder just now, this attack was enough to hurt her body. A black hole appeared next to her again, and then penetrated into it. In an instant, the area where Kaguya was just now was enveloped by countless black flames. Hey, fooled, Kuan Yu disappeared in a flash. Here is. Kaguya looked a little surprised at this small space. She was clearly positioned behind Kuan Yu. How could she appear here? At this time, Kuan Yu also appeared here instantly. Welcome to my space, don't even think about going out when you come here, Kuan Yu sneered. It's only space, I can break through at any time, Kaguya didn't care. Ready to open the space soon. But there was no response, as if the space here was frozen, it couldn't be opened at all. The rules of space here are completely controlled by me. I have no way to go out, so I am imprisoned, Kuan Yu said triumphantly. Suddenly Kaguya felt that his body could not move. This was a peculiar power and did not belong to chakra. It seemed that this space was confining her. But she did not give up, but started to mobilize the powerful chakra in her body. The 10 tails chakra that Kaguya can use is far beyond Madara's. As Kaguya struggled, Kuan Yu felt that his chakra was being consumed at an alarming rate, which surprised him. It seems that people with too strong restrictions will consume more. His space is not strong enough. Space is not invincible. If someone is strong enough, he can still break through the limits. It's troublesome, but even if you let you escape, you have to pay some interest. Kuan Yu's eyes narrowed. Absorbed, Kuan Yu drank. Kaguya, who was on the opposite side, felt that his chakra was being quickly drawn out and flew towards Kuan Yu's body. And Kuan Yu, who was supplemented by chakra, also had a bright eye, and suddenly increased Kaguya's confinement. Chakra pulled out very quickly. It didn't take long for the chakra in Kuan Yu's body to reach its limit and could no longer be absorbed. But Kuan Yu continued to extract Kaguya's chakras, which he used to expand the space. The larger the space, the stronger the power of the space. This was discovered when he expanded the space before. As for how Kaguya got in, it is necessary to mention Kuan Yu's preparations to fight Flying Thunder God. In order to make it easier for third generation or Obito to escape, Kuan Yu deliberately expanded the space. Then use your own space to attach to the real space, which means that if other people want to break through the space and leave, they must pass through Kuan Yu's space. And Kuan Yu can easily intercept them. The only drawback is that the limit distance is too short, and Kuan Yu's space is so big, otherwise Obito would not be able to escape just now. Kaguya, who felt that his chakra was quickly drawn by Kuan Yu, was also anxious. The 9-gold jade rinnegan on her forehead shook suddenly, and chakra exploded frantically. Click Kuan Yu hadn't figured out what was going on, his vision became blurred, and then he appeared in a strange space. And Kaguya fell on the opposite side of him. Kuan Yu then felt a crack in his space. Kuan Yu mobilized yin and yang to mend it. The powerful chakra and the strength of the 9-gold jade rinnegan broke through his space limit unreasonably, and even caused damage to his space. My own space is still too weak, and this should be Kaguya's starting space. Now you are in my space, you can't get out of it with your space ability, Kaguya said. 80 God's airstrike, numerous fists formed by chakra attacked Kuan Yu. Gentle fist 8 trigrams, Kuan Yu attacked against each other, and the chakra condensed at his fingertips continued to gush out. Chakra burst into bright light in the constant collision. Similar to my 80 divine airstrikes, Kagaya frowned. He was a little convinced. This Kuan Yu might really be her descendant. Kuan Yu's gaze narrowed. He had no plans to fight against Kagaya for chakra. Although he had filled up his own chakra before, the gap with Kagaya was huge. Kuan Yu turned on 3 layers of activation, and his attack speed suddenly increased. It broke through Kaguya's 80 god airstrikes in an instant. The sharp and cohesive chakra directly attacked Kaguya's body, but it only made her body back a few steps. Kaguya's defense is too strong. Kuan Yu rushed out instantly and was about to approach Kagaya. But Kaguya's hair danced, and a large number of hair strands shot at various acupuncture points all over Kuan Yu's body. With Kuan Yu's hand, a truth-seeking ball formed a shield in front of him and continued to rush towards Kagaya. After the distance was reached, Kuan Yu disappeared and appeared in front of Kagaya, sweeping her stomach with one foot. Kagaya was kicked into the air, and Kuan Yu appeared in front of Kagaya again. A black rod appeared in his hand. Kagaya frowned, her 9-hook jade rinnegan flashed, and the space blurred again. And Kuan Yu once again appeared in a strange space. The ground is a square grid, and a strong gravitational force acts on Kuan Yu's body, making Kuan Yu's body slightly stiff. Kagaya also squatted on the ground. Hey, gravity, Kuan Yu showed a playful smile. Kagaya raised his hand, and 2 more bone spurs appeared on his hand. Obviously he wanted to restrict Kuan Yu's movements and then kill Kuan Yu. Although physical destruction still can't kill you, you have no threat, Kagaya said. Really, Kuan Yu smiled. Be careful, mother, Black Zetsu exclaimed. I saw Kuan Yu quickly moving left and right, rushing towards Kagaya quickly. How is it possible? Kaguya's pupils shrank. Bang! Kuan Yu kicked Kagaya, who was squatting on the ground, in the face, kicking her away for a certain distance. Kagaya shot the bone spear in his hand at Kuan Yu backhand, but Kuan Yu easily avoided it. Kuan Yu rushed out again and kicked Kaguya's chin. Kaguya's body flew up, and Kuan Yu punched him on the stomach again. Kagaya gritted his teeth, and rinnegan flashed again. The space is transformed again. Appeared in a world of ice and snow. Mother, his physique is also very strong. The extreme attack can even affect the space, Black Zetsu said in Kaguya's sleeve. It's really strong, and it's not affected by gravity, Kagaya said lightly. This is the difference between me and you. My abilities are basically cultivated, and you are naturally able to gain powerful power, but you neglect to practice and blindly plunder the power of others, Kuan Yu said with disdain. It's impossible to cultivate. Kagaya didn't believe it. This is actually Kuan Yu's bragging, mainly because he doesn't have so much time to cultivate his original will, otherwise he can really cultivate to the present level. His bloodline of the 5 elements attribute was indeed cultivated by him, Ju said. Impossible. It is impossible for a human soul to bear so much bloodline unless he is not a human, Kagaya said with squinting eyes. Who is it scolding? Who is not a human being? Kuan Yu was angry in an instant. But Kaguya's words also surprised him. His soul does not belong to this world, is it really different? His master's bloodline is indeed too much, and most people seem to have the limit of 2. But this plugin is too unobvious. You can't kill me, although I can't kill you either. I can tell you how masters own power, but I have a condition, Kagaya said. What conditions? Kuan Yu said with interest. Help me against the Otsutsuki family, Kagaya said. I'm curious, how strong the Otsutsuki family is. It's worthy of you to win me over, Kuan Yu said in a puzzled manner. In Hokage Ninja, there are no other Otsutsuki other than Kagaya, but there are 4 in the blogger biography. The strength is quite strong, but not only these 4 are not clear. Actually, you can also be regarded as a member of the Otsutsuki clan, and I used to be a member of the branch house, so I have to resist, Kagaya said lightly. I believe you understand what kind of power their master has. Although the number is not large, the power they possess is not weaker than ours. That's it, Kuan Yu thought in his heart. People of the clan family, even if their original consciousness has not reached the limit, it will definitely not be weak. The original consciousness of branch house should be less. Kagaya formed the chakra fruit through the sacred tree, and gained pure original consciousness to reach the present level. Even contact with 10 tails. This is really strong, and other Otsutsuki need to use the power of 10 tails if they want to be stronger. This allows them to have more chakra, just like Kei Yoruichi. But in cooperation with Kagaya, Kuan Yu has not considered that Kagaya cannot give up the power of 10 tails. Even those who fall into infinite Tsukuyomi, she will not let go. This can bring her stronger strength. But this is what Kuan Yu didn't want to see, and if Kagaya absorbs it like this, the planet will be over sooner or later. Kuan Yu didn't want to wander in the space and let himself truly become Otsutsuki. Sorry, I refuse. Kuan Yu refused Kagaya. Then don't blame me, Kagaya frowned. Don't think that master gets a wedge, I can't kill you. Then see if you have this ability, Kuan Yu sneered. He didn't have the means to deal with Kagaya. Even if he couldn't kill her, he would seal her up. Kagaya didn't say anything. He directly opened the door of time and space and flew in. Kuan Yu wanted to stop it, but countless sharp ice rushed towards him and blocked him in front of Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu waved his hand, and an invisible air blade cut through the sharp ice, but Kagaya had already passed through the time-space gate, which was already closing. It is too late to stop. It's great to be able to travel through space. Kuan Yu looked at the sharp ice that was constantly flowing towards him. This was Kaguya's ability to blend into nature. It was meaningless to fight against this. He disappeared in a flash. In real space, Orochimaru and others waited for a long time, but Kuan Yu did not come out, and Kagaya did not come out. Can't help but frown, they don't know how the battle is going. And Orochimaru was not in a hurry to leave. Seeing that Kagaya has such a powerful spatial ability, I am afraid that he has escaped now, and it is estimated that he will not be able to escape after being found next time. Why not just wait here to see if there is a chance? Even if it is to help Kuan Yu, he will not hesitate. After all, Kuan Yu's spatial ability is not so terrible, he still has a chance to escape. He glanced at Obito, and Obito looked at him warily. Orochimaru knew that he had no chance to steal Obito's Sharingan. Even Kuan Yu had to be careful with the spatial ability, of course he wanted to get it. But Obito can escape at any time, and now is not the right time. At this time, Kuan Yu suddenly appeared in the air. He did not play peekaboo games with Kagaya, and returned to the real space directly through the marks of the real world left in his space. Knowing that Kagaya can move in unlimited space, how could Kuan Yu not be prepared? If Kuan Yu is locked inside, it won't be really difficult to get out. Did you win? Orochimaru said in a daze. No, it's just escaped, Kuan Yu said, shaking his head. A time-space door opened not far from Kuan Yu, and Kagaya emerged. You can actually come back, Kagaya frowned. She originally wanted to keep Kuan Yu in her own space, but she didn't expect Kuan Yu to come back. It seems that Kagaya can only be hurt by close combat, Kuan Yu thought. Kaguya's spatial ability is too difficult to deal with. Only Kuan Yu is close to the distance, using his own space to limit Kaguya's spatial ability. It's over. He won't explain anything to Kagaya. Kuan Yu took a deep breath. Drink. The violent chakra exploded directly from Kuan Yu's body. This is. Mother, be careful. He is going to use the secret technique to strengthen the body. I didn't expect how soon he will recover. We only need to persist for a while, and the use of this secret technique will not last long. Black Zetsu quickly said. Kagaya nodded. Although the Kuan Yu in front of him does not have the power of the Master Wedge, his strength should not be underestimated. Kuan Yu was frantically exploding, activating his body to the limit. The purple chakra rose to the sky, and then slowly retracted under Kuan Yu's control, the color also changing. In the end it became golden yellow, lingering around Kuan Yu's body, and Kuan Yu's hair also exploded and turned golden yellow. It's kind of like a Super Saiyan, Kuan Yu fisted and felt the infinite power in his body. Here we go. When Kuan Yu returned to the real world, he used space to help his body recover, but this state still couldn't be used for too long. Orochimaru's eyes shrank and he could use it again so soon. Kuan Yu disappeared directly, so fast that Kagaya was also blurred. Bang! Kuan Yu kicked Kagaya with one kick, but it only caused Kagaya to be hurt. Kaguya's body is already comparable to Truth-Seeking Ball, otherwise it would not have been possible to take the Shanshu Chen escape before. But this may have something to do with Kaguya's complete Master Ten Tails chakra. Those chakras protected Kaguya's body from harm. With Kuan Yu's continuous frenzy attack, Kagaya wanted to use the space ability, but the surrounding space was enveloped by Kuan Yu's space. If she travels through space, she will enter Kuan Yu's space again. She didn't want to be imprisoned again. Fortunately, although Kuan Yu's attack was strong, it did not cause much damage to her. It was just that she was beaten without the ability to resist. This physique called Kuan Yu is indeed quite powerful, the strongest she has ever seen. Just looking at this point is that none of the Otsutsuki clan who is good at physical skills will be his opponent. Kuan Yu frowned too. It didn't hurt much, and the defense of this body was too strong. Kuan Yu can see that Kagaya is quickly recovering from the place where he was injured. There seems to be a scene in which Kagaya hardwired Naruto's Rasengan with the chakra of the nine-tailed beast, and Kagaya was only slightly injured. It was also because the 10 tails in the body were aroused by the chakra of the nine-tailed beasts that caused the tail beasts in Kaguya's body to riot. Obviously Kuan Yu can't do this yet, but he has other ways. Puff, puff. The short rod formed by the truth-seeking ball is directly inserted into Kaguya's body. Physical exercises can't build merits, and he can use other abilities. He is not a physical exercise. With the speed beyond the limit, Kuan Yu restricted Kagaya with a black rod turned into a truth-seeking ball. Kaguya's body was frozen, and Kuan Yu moved back slightly. Then he grabbed his hands around him, and a truth-seeking ball appeared between his hands. As soon as Kuan Yu pulled, the truth-seeking ball immediately disintegrated and turned into a chakra with 7 attributes, which formed a ring and quickly rotated. He did not choose to use a single attribute, he wanted to annihilate Kaguya's body all at once. Kagaya looked at this scene in disbelief. This is to say that Kuan Yu has completely mastered the power of yin and yang in the 5 elements, and can actually decompose the truth-seeking ball. All attributes chakra's nature was fully activated by Kuan Yu to the limit, and rubbed against each other. White light blooms in Kuan Yu's hands, and chakras of different natures rub against each other, bringing out an unprecedented power. The power of this nature even surpasses the annihilation of the Black Thunder. And Kuan Yu is still injecting chakra continuously to maintain the continuous generation of this power, and the white light in Kuan Yu's hand is getting brighter and brighter. The horrible fluctuations seem to make the entire space tremble, and Kuan Yu could only barely suppress this force with his shaping and natural energy. The earth is constantly shaking, and some rocks are slowly suspended in the air, slowly turning into debris. The fluctuations of power are constantly emanating. What the hell is this? Orochimaru looked at Kuan Yu incredulously. Such a terrifying power, I am afraid that even the space will be penetrated. This is the power that belongs to the snare of blood succession. The combination of the 7 attributes can cause the greatest destructive power, Kuan Yu said with solemn eyes. With the principle of mutual restraint of attributes, the attributes are allowed to conflict with each other, forming a terrifying destructive ability. This is Kuan Yu's idea after decomposing Truth-Seeking Ball. Truth-Seeking Ball is a combination of attributes and fusion. The energy of the compressed body is formed. However, Kuan Yu went the other way, using attributes to restrain each other, and fully aroused all the potential of chakra. Kuan Yu's hand suddenly pressed, and the white ball of light in his hand was suddenly compressed by him. This is the limit Kuan Yu can achieve, and if he strengthens it, even he can't control it, or he will be destroyed. Kagaya was horrified, too soon. She had just forced out the black rod formed by Kuan Yu's truth-seeking ball, and Kuan Yu was ready. The space is also limited by Kuan Yu. Go to hell. Shattered light wave, the white light of the ball of light on Kuan Yu's hand suddenly bloomed, and then Kuan Yu pushed with both hands. While the white light bloomed, a white light beam shot out instantly. There seems to be only a piece of white in the world, and everyone can only see a piece of white light, as if all the other colors have disappeared. The palpitating power fluctuations continue to spread in the air. Do not. Kaka. It sounded like a crack. However, Kuan Yu's eyes flashed, looking at his own space, only to see that his own space was also penetrated, and the white light penetrated the space without knowing where it went. Yes, it's going to be repaired again. Kuan Yu guessed that this was the result of Kagaya forcibly opening the space, but with Kuan Yu's restrictions, she was still hit. The current situation is a little troublesome. Kagaya doesn't know if she is dead, she is thrown into the turbulence of time and space by Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu doesn't know what state it is, and the big problem of infinite Tsukuyomi has not been solved yet. Kuan Yu looked at Orochimaru and Obito. The golden chakra slowly disappeared and his hair returned to white. The use time has not yet arrived, but there is no one to fight, only put it away. It is not necessary to deal with these two people. When Kuan Yu watched them, their bodies tightened instantly. Give you 2 choices, surrender or die. Don't try to use the space ability to escape. I will find you sooner or later, Kuan Yu said blankly. No need, Kuan Yu, the conflict between us is not big, if it is because of that little girl, I can resurrect her, Orochimaru said dryly. Even if he can escape now, what about the future? Unless he hides completely, Kuan Yu will be able to find him sooner or later. Who knows if Kuan Yu has the ability to position him? After all, many of Kuan Yu's abilities were only exposed. No one knows how many other abilities Kuan Yu has. No, she has been resurrected, Kuan Yu said lightly. Obito was also bitter. His goal was successful, but he also failed. He felt that his existence didn't have much meaning. Kill me, Obito took off his mask, his face gray. Kuan Yu looked at Obito. You know that it was a misunderstanding. Hirano Lin was sealed with 3 tails. After being fully activated, there is basically not much chance of surviving. Even if you survive, it is more uncomfortable than death. But you resent Kakashi for failing to comply with your agreement. Resent everything, you are a coward. Whatever you say, you are the winner. Bang. Kuan Yu instantly appeared beside Obito and knocked him away with a punch. You are too selfish. For the sake of one person, you don't hesitate to hurt more people. You are blaming others for being able to do it, but not doing it, but never thinking about your own problems, Kuan Yu said lightly. He has never considered Obito. Kakashi killed Hirano Lin. You can confront Kakashi or kill him. Although still extreme, it is at least somewhat bloody. But what he did killed his mother and Minato. After that, he intensified and wanted to destroy Konoha, and finally pinned his hopes on infinite Tsukuyomi. Obito got up and was silent. Even if you want to save Lin, you can do it through Rinnegan, but you didn't. Selfishness and hatred fill your heart. All you want is revenge. Kuan Yu beckoned and pulled Obito to his side. A touch on his eyes, his Sharingan was taken off by Kuan Yu. Obito did not resist, blood kept on his eyes. After that, I will hand you over to Kakashi. No matter how he handles you, I won't care, Kuan Yu said. But the sins you should atone for are not less. Kuan Yu is not going to kill Obito, and now he is more uncomfortable alive than dead. As for you, Orochimaru, I don't need to kill you, but Rinnegan and Gui Loya must be handed over. You can continue to research, and even I can provide you with resources, but every one of your experiments will be supervised. Kuan Yu turned back look at Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru is extreme, its research ability is not bad and can be used. Orochimaru hesitated. He was definitely not Kuan Yu's opponent now. Even if he runs through the space ability, it may not be long before he will be caught by Kuan Yu. Just when Orochimaru was thinking, 2 figures rushed over quickly. Kuan Yu turned around and saw that it was Naruto and Sasuke. What are they here for? But in an instant, Kuan Yu discovered the special power emanating from them. Huh. The old man from 6 Paths appeared. He could feel the special power emanating from them. Naruto and Sasuke rushed to Kuan Yu's side quickly, and then fell to Kuan Yu's side. Kuan Yu. We're here to help you, Naruto said with a smile. Some people say that Kagaya is not dead, and then they gave me a kind of strength to let me help you. Sasuke looked up, and a Rinnegan appeared in his eyes. It is still a 6-Go Jade, exuding a powerful 6 Paths yin power. It's Sage of 6 Paths, Kuan Yu said, touching his chin. How do you know Kuan Yu? Naruto touched his head and said. Sasuke was also puzzled, and because of this, he dismissed infinite Tsukuyomi. Aren't you going to come out to see me? Kuan Yu suddenly looked to one side. A space door opened, and Kagaya, who was half of his body, floated out from there. Sure enough, Kagaya who owns 10 tails is not so easy to die, but now she is also seriously injured, and even her breath has become unstable. Kuan Yu could feel the chakra fluctuating in her body. The ground is cracking, a large amount of chakra is being absorbed by Kagaya, and her destroyed body is slowly recovering. The power of 10 tails has not reached its full state because some tail beasts are in Kuan Yu's hands. Especially Chakra's strongest 8 tails and 9 tails. This made Kaguya's strength weaker, but more stable, so that it hadn't caused the tail beast riot in his body. The 9-tailed beasts of the past are not as strong as they are now, and they are also growing. But this lack of chakra makes Kagaya easier to control. Kagaya looked at Naruto and Sasuke beside Kuan Yu, his expression shook, and then instantly turned on Byakugan. They are. From Hai and Hamura, no, it's Indra and Ashura. Kaguya's eyes became sad. Kuan Yu, you come to restrict her, Sasuke and I will come to seal. Naruto instantly turned golden yellow and entered Kurama mode. It seems that Sage of 6 Paths has done a lot. But soon a fox head appeared on Naruto's shoulder. Yo, Kuan Yu, I have helped you so much, but you haven't solved it yet, 9 Tails said teasingly. Whatever you say, you don't know that she can't be killed, and Naruto Sasuke, Do you know how she is related to you? Quan Yu said playfully. Sasuke frowned. What's the relationship? Naruto said puzzledly. Your grandma, ha ha ha, is it surprising? Quan Yu laughed. Naruto's body froze. This joke is not funny at all, Sasuke said dissatisfied. Quan Yu stopped smiling. Actually, there is no need to fight and kill, Kagaya. I can help you, but you must give up 10 tails, Quan Yu said while looking at Kagaya. It's impossible. Kagaya frowned. Listen to me, hello, old man six paths, if you can't get out, I'll really kill your mother if you don't, Quan Yu shouted. Kaguya's expression was shocked. And far away in Mount Myoboku, an old man wearing a white robe suspended in front of the tail beast, helplessly opened his eyes. I saw a pair of Rinnegan in his eyes. He looked at the crystal ball that appeared on the ground, then let out a sigh, and disappeared here. Quan Yu waited for a while, but still no one came out, suddenly a little embarrassed. Forget it. It seems that a peaceful solution is impossible, then let me seal you up. Quan Yu stretched out his hand and 5 truth-seeking balls appeared in front of Quan Yu. Then blue thunder, red fire, yellow earth, whirlwind wind, and transparent water appeared in turn. The old man of 6 paths uses the yin and yang seal. Although I don't know this, I will use the 5 elements seal. The seal formed by the 5 attributes of ultimate is not weaker than the seal with yin and yang attributes. This is Quan Yu's transformation with the ordinary 5 element seal. Although not sure if it will work, it is definitely much stronger than the general 5 element seal. After all, it is a seal formed by the attributes of ultimate. Quan Yu also uses the compressed energy of truth-seeking ball, which can make the seal stronger. Kagaya looked at the 5 chakras in front of Quan Yu, his eyes dignified, and he was ready to do it. Oh, wait, an old man with a black staff appeared here. Hey, it's finally out, Quan Yu thought in his heart. Then the chakra on truth-seeking ball converged and returned to Quan Yu's body. Long time no see, mother, sage of 6 paths looked at Kagaya with complicated eyes. Hi. Kaguya's eyes became soft and sad. Hi, you dare to come out, have you forgotten how you treated your mother in the first place, Black Zetsu said angrily in the sleeve of Kagaya. Quan Yu noticed that the current sage of 6 paths is actually an energy state, and the power fluctuations it emits are not strong. What are you doing? The legendary sage of 6 paths does not have a body, and its strength is not very strong. Sage of 6 paths noticed that Quan Yu was observing him. As you can see, I am not very strong, and even my body has been annihilated for a long time, Sage of 6 paths said. It stands to reason that this should not be possible. 9-tailed beasts should be able to help you reach the strongest state, Quan Yu said puzzledly. It doesn't make sense. Too long a life will make us change our original thoughts. I don't want to be a mother like this, Sage of 6 paths said. Cut. Boring, Quan Yu said disdainfully. I don't know what happened to you back then, but I think Kaguya's goal should be to let you help her fight against the Otsutsuki family, Quan Yu said while looking at Kagaya. Kagaya didn't speak, just suspended there quietly. Then you found out that she was using 10 tails to make devouring humans to make white Zetsu, so you sealed her. Yes, that's it, Sage of 6 paths said slowly. What then? After you disappeared, the ninja world was still in chaos, and your 2 sons continued to reincarnate. Your desire to protect mankind was still not fulfilled. Quan Yu glanced at Sasuke and Naruto and said. Yes, although I don't want that either, Sage of 6 paths said sadly. The purpose of Kagaya is just to fight against the Otsutsuki family. 10 tails is needed to accumulate strength. I don't think you want to be an enemy of your 2 sons. Because you are their mother after all, Kagaya still didn't speak. It's not over. I will deal with the Otsutsuki family, and I will suppress the ninja world. Kagaya, as long as you hand over 10 tails, you can live with your 2 sons, not 3 sons with peace of mind. As long as it doesn't affect the ninja world, I have nothing to say. If you have to fight and kill, can't you live a good life? Why should I believe you, and it is impossible for me to hand over 10 tails, Kagaya said. It seems that Kagaya is a little shaken, but she is just a woman aside from the identity of the Otsutsuki clan. Sage of 6 paths looked at Kagaya with a complicated expression. My credibility has always been guaranteed. If you don't believe me, you can ask Black Zetsu, and you think your 2 sons have no backup means, Quan Yu said with a smile. One collects souls, and one creates giant Tensigan comparable to 10 tails. Sage of 6 paths looked shocked. How did you know? He couldn't believe why Quan Yu knew so much. Don't worry about it, in the original book, Nagato used the Hell Road to release the soul of the dead Konoha. Kuan Yu guessed that Rinnegan is definitely related to the soul. The souls of those who are likely to die are in the hands of Sage of Six Paths. On the moon over Hamura, there is something like the giant Tensigan. Chakra may be much weaker than 10 tails, but it is still very strong. And their purpose of making these preparations is probably to prevent other Otsutsuki from coming to the ninja world. Although Kuan Yu doesn't know what Sage of Six Paths collects souls for, the purpose is definitely not simple. It may have something to do with the original will. Kaguya's eyes flashed, obviously she understood something. Yes, we did this to fight the Otsutsuki family. The power of Tensigan, plus the soul I collected, can be comparable to the power of 10 tails, but this is only a backup method, and it is not used as a last resort. Sage of Six Paths said silently. Sure enough, Kuan Yu thought in his heart. Is it possible to say that the ninja world is special in the universe? Otherwise it is impossible to absorb so much power, Kuan Yu said. Even if the natural energy is absorbed in this way, the 3 holy places are still sucking, and the natural energy in the ninja world is still not weak. No wonder Kaguya rebels, it's also because there is enough power to accumulate here. Yes, here is an unprecedented space, enough to support my continued strength, Kaguya said. The space of the universe is vast enough, and there are definitely many planets that can give birth to so many lives. But the premise is that you can find it. Even if the Otsutsuki clan has space capabilities and space survivability, it is impossible to easily find a living planet. Or find some planets, where there is not much room for survival. And there is the most special original will, just like Kuan Yu, the amount of original will determines the amount of chakra he can store. The original will of 10 tails cannot come from nothing. Kuan Yu guessed that it should be related to the soul. As Kuan Yu discovered before, natural energy can nourish the soul and produce the original will. Therefore, in order for 10 tails to generate the original will, it also needs the power of the soul. So the souls of those who were turned into white Zetsu by Kaguya were absorbed by 10 tails, and the souls collected by Sage of Six Paths may be the same. For a time, many thoughts flashed through Kuan Yu's mind. I have the power to fight against the Otsutsuki family, but it's really impossible. There are 10 tails and the giant Tensigan. We don't have to fight and kill at all. Isn't it good to develop this planet reasonably? I don't care about what happened before, what I need is a brighter future, Kuan Yu said with a smile. It depends on what my mother means. Sage of Six Paths' eyes flickered. Kaguya looked at Sage of Six Paths with hesitation in his expression. Mother. Black Zetsu said hesitantly. Kuan Yu now has the power to completely seal his mother, as well as Naruto and Sasuke. If he fights hard, there is basically no hope of winning. And if Kuan Yu uses the power of the wedge under the guidance of Sage of Six Paths, even the spatial ability will be useless. All they can do is escape into the universe. There was a long silence. And Kuan Yu is not in a hurry, now he has the advantage, and he believes Kaguya will consider it carefully. Yes. But I have a request, Kaguya said. Mother, Sage of Six Paths said in surprise. They had persuaded their mother before, but it sparked a battle. But he didn't expect his mother to agree. Say. Sure enough, Kaguya has feelings for his children. Kuan Yu's plan freed her from worries. We are going to sign a contract, and the violator will be swallowed by 10 tails' will. In front of 10 tails, your will has no resistance at all, Kaguya stared at Kuan Yu and said. Kuan Yu's original will has reached its limit, but it is still much worse than 10 tails. Obviously it is impossible to fight 10 tails. And what is a contract? Is it a contract similar to the summoning beast? Regardless, he is not ready to go back, sign or not. No problem, although I will not violate my promise, but if you don't worry, I will accept it, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Kaguya's expression was shocked. He obviously could cooperate with Yuya and others to seal himself, but he still chose to sign the contract, which she did not expect. But since Kuan Yu agreed, she didn't hesitate. Then she tore off a sleeve from her dress and turned it into a scroll, and then some black writing appeared on it. With a lightly thrown her hand, the scroll fell in front of Kuan Yu. You can observe the above content with your will, Kaguya said. Kuan Yu used his own will to enter the scroll. Although Kuan Yu could not understand, he understood the meaning of the above. These include not harming each other, resisting the Otsutsuki family, not forcibly possessing the power of 10 tails, etc. They are all restrictions on Kuan Yu. Writing this way, I suffer too much, Kuan Yu said. Then he used his own will to modify and add some content on it. These words have Kaguya's will, and there is no way to fake it. Then Kuan Yu threw the scroll to Kaguya. I have different opinions on this contract. First of all, we can jointly defend the ninja world, but we can get the souls of others at will to make chakra fruits. This is not good, and this contract cannot be signed by the two of us alone. At our level, we must also sign this contract compulsorily. This also guarantees unity. Kaguya still did not give up getting the chakra fruit, although it was evenly divided with Kuan Yu. Very reasonable, this is the biggest concession she has made. But Kuan Yu didn't want to destroy the souls of others to gain strength. However, it seems that his power can also be improved through chakra fruit. Kaguya cares about chakra fruit. But obviously his original will has reached its limit. Can it become stronger? Kuan Yu is not clear about the relationship here. Do you know that this is equivalent to what you gave up? Kaguya said after watching the scroll. You can explain. Obviously my strength has reached its limit, Kuan Yu said. Our most original strength is the wedge, because with this power we can be immortal, but there is a limit to the carrying of the soul. Once the limit is reached, we can no longer absorb the external wedge. Oh, I call this the original will. Since it can't be absorbed, why do you have to do so much? Kuan Yu said. If you can't absorb it, you can also attach to it. A pure wedge, or the kind of original will that you said attaches to our will, can also allow us to get more chakra, Kaguya said. So that was the case, Kuan Yu thought. No wonder Kaguya cares so much. Although the power is still those powers, there are more chakras that can be stored and used. Just like 10 tails, the original will in 10 tails also allows you to get more chakra, Kuan Yu said. Just like Kaguya wore a battle armor, he used his original will to control 10 tails and gain stronger power. No, it's different, Kaguya said. Kuan Yu wondered. What's the difference? 10 tails also has the original will of the tail beast. Isn't this the source of Kaguya's chakra? Even if I have acquired pure original will, I will become stronger. It allows me to better control 10 tails, Kaguya said. Kuan Yu is thoughtful, which means that the extra original will make Kaguya's control over 10 tails stronger. Then how are these pure original wills formed, although I know it is related to the soul? Kuan Yu asked. This is the secret of the Otsutsuki family, but now that I cooperate, I can tell you. This kind of original will exists in the human soul, but it is very weak, and 10 tails absorbs the human soul to attract this part of the original will, and to do this, a Otsutsuki must be offered. Sacrifice, it should be that only pure original will can attract other original wills and extract them. This takes a lot of time. Kaguya explained. That's it. Kuan Yu remembered seeing it there. It was Kaguya who attacked him and sacrificed his body to 10 tails, which allowed 10 tails to fully recover. The formation of the giant Tensigan is because Byakugan stores the purest original will of the soul. There is no need to extract at all, just fusion. No wonder the copied Byakugan or Sharingan have no abilities. Orochimaru also created the real Sharingan by cultivating the consciousness of cloning, that is, cultivating the soul. And I was the one who was going to be sacrificed. Although I won't be completely swallowed up, my power will be greatly weakened. This is the method used by the clan to control the branch house, Kaguya said with a dim look. It seems that in the Otsutsuki family, the branch house people are inevitably suppressed. But the tail beasts are still growing. Where does their extra original will come from? Kuan Yu asked. The tail beast that was originally separated by Sage of Six Paths was still very small, but it has now grown to this size. They increase the amount of power, or where does the original will come from? They have already borne their own will, and the souls of human beings who have been taken away from the original will also be cultivated by them. This will take longer and it is difficult to extract, Kaguya said. It's no wonder that yin and yang escape can contain souls, and tail beasts can slowly become stronger through these. Moreover, it is difficult to extract, and it is also related to the will of the tail beast itself. They are unwilling, and they must resist. However, what Kuan Yu obtained was what the tail beast willingly paid, so it was so easy. And because there are so many human souls, the tail beast's chakra seems very violent. The souls of these people have been shredded by 10 tails to facilitate the extraction of their original will. In order to prevent the tail beast from being too violent, I injected these soul fragments into the 9 tail beasts according to their emotions, Sage of Six Paths said. Kuan Yu thoughtfully, it is impossible for Kaguya not to absorb the soul. The ninja world has developed to the way it is now, and many people have died naturally. The souls of these people can be used, but they are completely crushed and absorbed by 10 tails, which does not conform to Kuan Yu's philosophy. I understand. If this is the case, then we are like this. The souls of people who have died naturally are still crushed by 10 tails, and the purest part is thrown into the newborn baby. The giant Tensigan has the purest original will and can do this. This is equivalent to giving everyone a chance to reincarnate. Anyway, Yuya has already collected a lot of souls, so it's boring to exist there. Kuan Yu touched his chin and said, "It will take a long time to synthesize the chakra fruit," Kagaya said with a frown. "We don't lack strength right now, there is no need to be so anxious, and there are many in the giant Tensigan, the pure original will, but I don't recommend extracting it, as it can be used as a backup method," Kuan Yu explained. "I agree with this," Sage of Six Paths nodded and said. There is no doubt that Kuan Yu's choice is in line with his philosophy. Strong chakra doesn't mean stronger power. My chakra doesn't know how much less than you, but you are still not my opponent, Kuan Yu said. And I can also give you the ability to absorb natural energy. As long as there is natural energy in your chakra, you can also replenish it at any time. Kagaya looked at Sage of Six Paths, and Sage of Six Paths also looked at Kagaya. Different emotions were expressed in the eyes of the two. After a while, "I agree," Kagaya agreed. She revised it on the scroll, and then flew to Kuan Yu. "You check, we can sign it if there is no problem," Kagaya said. Kuan Yu looked at the contract carefully, and slightly modified the above content. This contract should not restrict them too much, but it should also ensure that they can reach a perfect cooperation. There must be no loopholes in it, otherwise it is difficult to modify. I'll add one more item. Only the person who originally signed it can modify the contract unless that person dies, Kuan Yu thought for a while and said. I don't know how the situation will be in the future, and it is necessary to add this one. Yes. Kagaya nodded. Call in Hamura, the four of us signed the contract, Kuan Yu said. Sage of Six Paths nodded. Although he didn't read the content of the contract, he already knew what Kuan Yu meant. I'm here, mother as well. An old man and a young man appeared here. Hamura. Kaguya's expression was a bit low. Is it right? I don't agree, you are not going to come out. Hamura lowered his head and was a little silent. It's all a family. It's been so many years, and your mother has been sealed for so long. What's the barriers that can't be solved? Kuan Yu made a round. Are you a man? Kuan Yu said as he looked at the young man. Huh. Sharon was a little dissatisfied. He wanted to find time to evolve Tensigan and then clean the ninja world. But they didn't expect their ancestors to show up and bring him here. Young man, I advise you to be kind, or be careful that I educate you, Kuan Yu said dissatisfied. Sharon wanted to say something, but was interrupted. Let's sign the contract, Kagaya said after confirming that the contract is okay. The scroll hovered between four people. Good, Kuan Yu raised his hand. He broke a hole in his finger, and then wrote his name. The blood-colored font hovered above the scroll. Sage of Six Paths and Hamura looked at each other, and then mobilized his own chakra to form his own name in the air. It contains their original will, which is no different from the font formed by Kuan Yu's blood. Everyone turned their eyes to Kagaya. Kaguya's eyebrows drooped. Then he raised his hand, cut his finger, and wrote his name. It indicates that this dispute has finally come to an end. The four names hovered on the scroll, slowly falling down to shrink, and finally printed on the four spaces of the scroll. This is the exclusive position of the four of them, and only a few of them can modify the content of the contract in the future. Kuan Yu instantly felt a connection, and it was the 10 tails in Kagaya that was connected. If Kuan Yu breaks the contract, he will be backlashed by 10 tails. He didn't know what mechanism it was, whether it still worked after the destruction of 10 tails. But seeing Kagaya choose to do this, he must be certain. Kuan Yu didn't plan to violate, on the contrary, this scroll could be used to good use. Well, everyone will be on the same boat from now on, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Now the internal problems have been completely resolved. Sage of Six Paths and Hamura also smiled. The things that had been entangled for so long were finally resolved, and they also let go of their hearts. It's up to you, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sharon. Kuan Yu looked at Naruto and the others. Are we going to sign too? Naruto said, pointing to himself. Of course, you already have power far beyond ordinary people. In the future, anyone who reaches your level will be required to sign this contract, Kuan Yu said. In fact, this meant that they were given complete masters by the four Kuan Yu. After all, Kuan Yu and the others have the right to modify the contract. This is tantamount to a life and death book. All four of them understood, but none of them explained. Moreover, the content of the contract can only be modified after all four of them agree, and it won't work if one person is missing. Unless someone dies. But the corresponding modification is also more difficult, which is also a restriction on the 4 of them. Kuan Yu added this one to pure the team, and he has no plans to use the contract to control other people. Afterwards, those who practiced immortal arts will also leave their names on it. This can also ensure that Shanshu will not be spread. When Kuan Yu completely creates a suitable fairy technique, he will discuss with Kagaya and others about adding content to the contract. But Sasuke wanted to understand the relationship, but didn't say anything. Naruto wrote his name generously, and Sasuke hesitated and left his name on it. Why do I want to? Sharon frowned slightly. If you give up the right to use the giant Tensigan, you don't need to leave a name on it, and I will deprive you of your original will, Kuan Yu said. Kuan Yu can see that Sharon's body already has a certain original will fused in his soul. If he is unwilling to sign, he can only deprive it. You are not on our side, and you still want to get benefits, which is impossible. Why? Sharon wanted to say something, but Hamura looked at him with reproach, making him unable to speak. In the end, he left his name on it. Kuan Yu saw that Sharon left his name, and looked to Orochimaru to the side. I also signed a contract, Orochimaru smiled. I can ask you to sign, but there are some things that I must deprive me of, and I don't want to do human experiments in the future, Kuan Yu said. Of course, I have no opinion at all, Orochimaru said helplessly. Almost the strongest people are here, even the legendary sage of 6 paths has appeared. What else can he say? It's basically impossible to escape, and it's a blessing to be able to not kill him. Rinnegan, what are you going to do with it? Sage of 6 paths said. Although Rinnegan is not strong for a few of them, it is still an important thing. Keep it for now, if there are outstanding juniors in the future, give it to him, Kuan Yu said. Sage of 6 paths nodded. Don't resist, Kuan Yu said to Orochimaru. Then he put Orochimaru into the space. It didn't take long. Orochimaru came out, and there was still a Sharingan on his eyes. Kuan Yu still left Orochimaru with this eye. Then a black and red ball of light was released by Kuan Yu. Floating to the side, then quickly expanded and became 8 tails. I'm finally out, 8 tails shouted wildly. Be quiet, and then I will prepare a container for you to get Killer Bee back, Kuan Yu said with a frown. 8 tails suddenly became quiet, and it knew what was happening outside. Sign it, Izumi said to Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru lost Ghost Loya, he did not die because of the spring. Instead, because he entered the 6 paths mode, he also gained a lot of benefits. Thank you, Orochimaru smiled and dropped his name on the scroll. Kuan Yu stretched out his hand, and a mass of non-squirming matter appeared in his hand. Come out. I know you are inside, Kuan Yu said. As if hearing Kuan Yu's words, Gui Loya started to deform. Soon a head appeared, and it looked like 3rd generation. The 3rd generation, who was killed by Kuan Yu before, did not die. His will remained in Ghost Loya, but it seemed that his mental state was not good. Kuan Yu, you won. I hope you can protect Konoha in the future, 3rd generation whispered. Kuan Yu's eyes did not fluctuate, given the mistakes you made. Wait, a few figures quickly fell not far from Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu, can you keep him alive? It was Tobirama who spoke. They have been watching by the side all the time, and did not participate. They are just dead people, and they don't have much power in themselves. It wasn't until the appearance of 3rd generation that Tobirama stopped speaking. This is his disciple, he must come forward. I'm afraid this won't work. He has committed too many sins, and he is still the kind of unresolved one, Kuan Yu said. He gave 3rd generation many opportunities, but 3rd generation still chose to fight him. Sorry teacher, I don't have the face to live anymore, 3rd generation said in a low voice. Little monkey. Tobirama sighed in his heart. He has become like this, and it is useless to live. Pour the power of 10 tails into him. This is considered a small 10 tails. The body of 10 tails will stay with you. It should be able to create a connection between the two. Kuan Yu handed the 3rd generation to Kagaya. Separating 10 tails from Kaguya's body is somewhat unrealistic, and it is estimated that Kagaya will not agree. However, it is still possible to create a clone of 10 tails, and the power of the two is connected. In addition, the 5 elements of yin and yang in the Ghost Loy are complete, and only chakra is missing. All the power of 10 tails is injected into it, the will of 3rd generation will be destroyed, and Ghost Loya will become the real 10 tails. The 10 tails body in Kagaya can also use the power of 10 tails through contact. What to do with the person in my body, and the tail beast? Kagaya nodded and said. This is indeed possible, equivalent to a special clone of 10 tails. Let's let people out. If the tail beast provides power to the sacred tree, it does not need to be completely sealed inside, and the full tail beast can maintain the vitality of the sacred tree without too much power, Kuan Yu said. In fact, it is to keep part of the tail beast's body in the sacred tree. Without the tail beast 10 tails can't exert its power. I see, Kagaya said. Also, can the sacred tree transform other energy into natural energy? Kuan Yu asked. Yes, Kagaya nodded. Sure enough, Kuan Yu's heart was shocked. Then don't absorb the energy of the planet itself. We transform the energy of the sun to deny the ninja world. You can also plant the sacred tree on the moon, Kuan Yu said. In this way, the natural energy of the ninja world will be more and more, which will greatly benefit the cultivation of immortality in the future. This was also Kuan Yu's original idea, and now he has got the exact answer here in Kagaya. And the planet will not be destroyed, but will become more and more prosperous. Kagaya nodded, she had no objection. Kuan Yu said that he can let her absorb natural energy by herself, and more natural energy is also good for her. Moreover, natural energy alone can't make 10 tails stronger, it's mainly the original will. And 10 tails is still in her master, but it's just used in a different way. She agrees with Kuan Yu's opinions. The price she paid was very small, and she gained a strong combat power, and more importantly, her 2 sons no longer resisted her. One person gradually separated from Kagaya, it was Madara. After Madara escaped, Kagaya was restored to his original state. If you have anything to say, just explain to him. Without 10 tails, he can't live for too long, Kuan Yu said to Hashirama. Then he waved his hand a little, and gave Madara a touch of vitality. Hashirama looked at her naked torso, with a Madara similar to his face on her chest, with a complicated expression. Madara slowly opened her eyes, looked around, then set her gaze on Hashirama. The Rinnegan in his eyes has disappeared, and the original will in his eyes should have been taken away by Kagaya. I lost, Hashirama, I lost thoroughly, Madara said. I know, you were too persistent, Hashirama knelt down and said. Kuan Yu, you are great, you won this time, Madara looked at Kuan Yu. I gave you a chance, but you don't believe me, Kuan Yu said. Hee. I don't need to believe anyone in Madara's life, I only believe in myself, Madara said lightly. But you were still cheated, Madara was silent. Send me away. Give me a decent way to die, don't leave a trace in this world, Madara said. Madara. Hashirama wanted to say something. But he saw the death on Madara's face and finally didn't say anything. Kuan Yu nodded. Then a black thunder appeared on the hand, the black thunder gathered together, turned into a black ball, and slowly expanded, began to erode Madara's body. It's like a dream, I don't want to come to this world again. Madara's body was submerged. Throughout his life, Zheng Rong experienced death and resurrected again, and finally found out that his whole life was just a scam. How does this make him accept? The black sphere slowly shrank, and Madara's body had disappeared. Kuan Yu did not destroy his soul went to the Pure Land. Hashirama was a little lost. We are also going to leave, the world of the living does not belong to us, he said softly. The shadows glanced at each other and didn't say anything. They couldn't live in this state. They were just watching visitors and were leaving sooner or later. Izumi glanced at Orochimaru. I see, impure world reincarnation, solve, Orochimaru took a seal in his hand. Suddenly, the bodies of Hashirama and others began to turn into debris, and the container for storing their souls was cracking. This is an interesting technique that can provide us with soldiers, Kagaya said. Forget it, it doesn't make much sense. Just go where you should go when you die. If you need other power, we can cultivate it by ourselves, Kuan Yu said. Start planting the sacred tree, and solve infinite Tsukuyomi by the way. Third generation seemed to know his own destiny, he didn't say anything, and returned to the form of Ghost Loya. Kagaya nodded. Then she raised her head to look at the moon, and Rinnegan, a jade of the 9 go, shook, and a burst of pupil power was projected out. The roots that bound Weasel and others in the distance began to die, and slowly sank to the ground. Things resembling cloth belts on their bodies are also shattering. It should be the same in other places. Well, infinite Tsukuyomi has been relieved, Kagaya said. Then get ready for the new world, Kuan Yu smiled on his face. On the border of the country of fire, a huge tree stood there, covered with lush foliage, and towering into the clouds. The thick trunk makes the people under the tree have to marvel, it is too big. The tree trunk is also surrounded by wooden steps, spiraling upwards, extending into the clouds. Walk through these steps, through the clouds, and you will find a huge platform there. The huge platform is supported by tree branches, and there is a city on it. There are people coming and going in the city, which seems to be very prosperous. Others are constantly flying in and out, on a large balcony. Is that what you think? Haven't you thought about controlling them completely? Kaguya said, watching the crowd coming and going. Is it necessary? We have gained powerful strength and will surely gain their respect. They are friendly to us, at least they won't overthrow us all the time. Kuan Yu stood beside Kaguya and said with a smile. Humph, Kaguya snorted coldly, knowing that Kuan Yu was talking about himself. After the establishment of the Sky Council, the members still choose from human beings. They are the ones who decide, and we are responsible for providing the strength to protect them, and we can also benefit from them. This is a win-win situation, Kuan Yu continued. Indeed, Kuan Yu's method is very good, Sage of Six Paths nodded and said. Furthermore, I also gave them the direction of progress, cultivation of immortality, and longevity, but once they succeed in cultivation, they must sign a contract, so this kind of peace will always be maintained, Kuan Yu said. It's the way you said to absorb natural energy, Kaguya thought for a while and said. Yes, for humans, they must first have a strong enough chakra, and then how can the master reduce their own mental fluctuations to perceive natural energy, form the fairy chakra, create a clone, seal the clone into the body, and keep the clone provide him with natural energy. Human beings will strengthen their original will under the long-term celestial technique chakra. Kuan Yu explained what he thought was the mode of cultivation. But I prefer to call natural energy aura and chakra as true essence, Kuan Yu said. Let humans cultivate the power of master. You actually think so? Kaguya said in shock. Don't forget. I am also a human being, and there are many of your blood in human beings. They are strong and we are strong, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Kaguya didn't speak anymore. Even in the future, we will be able to conquer other star regions in the universe and find other living spaces for us humans. It is more to witness a more novel world. This is the meaning of life. Otherwise, why do you live so long? Isn't it boring? Kuan Yu said excitedly. Sooner or later, staying here will have to be annoying, and when the technology of the ninja world develops, you can open up the outside world. Sage of Six Paths and Hamura looked at each other, and then at Kuan Yu. Well, this is of course a long time in the future. I planned it this way. I don't know your opinion, Kuan Yu asked. We have no opinion, you have a good idea, Sage of Six Paths said. As long as I can fight against the Otsutsuki family, I have no opinion, Kaguya said. Of course, let me talk about how to perceive aura. A purple sphere appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. Our cultivation is no more troublesome. We only need to reduce the fluctuations of the will to escape, and then we can slowly feel the natural energy, and if we reduce the fluctuations of the original will, we can even decompose the natural energy, Kuan Yu said with a smile. It's so, Sage of Six Paths said in surprise. He was also a master of Shanshu, and it was the first time he knew that Shanshu was like this. But he didn't expect Kuan Yu to absorb it with a clone. He entered Sage mode wholeheartedly to provide himself with a stronger chakra. But he absorbs natural energy very quickly, it will not last long, and it will not absorb it if it is enough. Sage mode that can be maintained for a long time with his chakra amount. More than that, in this state, we can integrate the original will of the source faster, because when we enter the state of Sage mode, we are quite compatible with the fluctuation of the will of the original will, Kuan Yu continued. Kuan Yu lowered the fluctuation of the yin escape will in his hand and began to mobilize natural energy. Then these natural energies were transformed into yin-yang escape by Kuan Yu, and finally became a clone. This is actually the case. The way our Otsutsuki clan integrates the original will, we only rely on a long time of running in to finally merge, Kaguya said in shock. Kuan Yu smiled slightly. The cultivation of fairy magic is difficult. Although I don't know if you can do it, you should do it more easily than ordinary people. All of them have the original will, and they are also integrated with their own souls, which should be simpler than ordinary people. Kuan Yu's explanation was already very clear, and they also understood the change of yin's will in Kuan Yu's hands before. So they closed their eyes. Sage of Six Paths immediately separated a clone, and in an instant natural energy began to be absorbed by him. He knew how to use fairy skills, it was easy to do this, but he didn't know how to use it before. Sure enough, Sage of Six Paths nodded. After a while, Kaguya was shocked. Natural energy began to gather towards her, but immediately became uncontrollable. Kagaya opened her eyes, her breath was slightly distracted, and the natural energy spread out. What's the matter? You should have succeeded. Why did it last so long? Kuan Yu frowned and asked. The natural energy just now was abnormal, and it was obvious that Kagaya had succeeded. Sage of Six Paths was also a little surprised. After entering that state, I felt the chaotic will in 10 tails impacting my spirit. Kagaya frowned. It turns out that this is the case. Your will is connected with 10 tails. You reduced the fluctuation of your will to the same level as 10 tails. That's why it is so, Kuan Yu said. It's good to separate the clones with the original will, so that they won't be connected with 10 tails. Kagaya nodded. At this time, Hamura next to him also fluctuated the natural energy, and the natural energy was absorbed by him. Sure enough, with more original will, Master Shanshu is easier. Hamura stopped to absorb natural energy and opened his eyes. It turns out that the methods of cultivating immortality in the 3 holy sites are too complicated, and you are not as intuitive as Kuan Yu, Hamura said. He has never been a Master Shanshu, just can't figure out what it is to blend into nature. Kuan Yu smiled. But I'm curious, how 10 tails is made. It can control natural energy, and even produce natural energy, Kuan Yu asked. Do you really want to know? Kagaya said dimly. Kuan Yu nodded. Hamura and Sage of Six Paths also looked at Kagaya. Well, this is the secret of the Otsutsuki clan. Since you want to know, I will tell you. There were many people in the Otsutsuki clan before, but some people later discovered that our eyes can merge with each other and get stronger power. So the war started, and a large number of people's eyes were taken away, and then they were merged together. Kagaya said. Tensigan. Kuan Yu nodded and said. Yes, it's similar to Tensigan, but our clan not only has Byakugan, but also other types of eyes, so the fusion is different, Kagaya nodded and said. But what does it have to do with 10 tails? Kuan Yu asked. This only explains the origin of the special eyes of the Otsutsuki clan. Because of physical reasons, their eyes have become stronger, but if they keep using it, their body will not be able to bear it, Kagaya continued. Kuan Yu just remembered that the outside eyes will continue to absorb their own chakra. Although they are both of the Otsutsuki clan, there will not be too much rejection. But if you use yin and yang escape, it will consume yang escape, that is, vitality. Madara can only be used with Hashirama cells. Obviously, Otsutsuki's body does not originally have a sage body, and even a normal sage body can't help but consume it like this. Then how did they solve it? Kuan Yu asked. The sacred tree. They incorporated the branches of the sacred tree into their bodies and gained strong vitality, Kagaya said. The sacred tree? Isn't the sacred tree 10 tails? Kuan Yu was a little confused. No, this is not the same. The sacred tree is the sacred tree of our Otsutsuki clan, not 10 tails. It has no other ability except for its strong vitality and control of natural energy, Kagaya said. The Otsutsuki who merged with the branches of the gods gained the power of yin and yang, allowing them to use yin and yang without any scruples, but they were not satisfied. They wanted to be stronger and want to become gods. So they began to divide the sacred tree. Although they can no longer be merged, everyone has a limit to merging the branches of the sacred tree. So they set their sights on the ordinary people again, and used their bodies without eyes to fuse the branches of the gods, and merge with each other, and then 10 tails are formed. Kagaya said lightly, the sinful history of the Otsutsuki clan. But the newborn 10 tails did not have too strong power, and in order to gain stronger power, the people of the master's powerful power began to attack each other and compete for 10 tails. The war lasted for a long time, there were fewer and fewer people left, and the world was destroyed in a mess. Even the real sacred tree was destroyed. In the end, they ended the war and made an agreement that the Otsutsuki clan must not harm each other. And our branch house is the part of people who have not gained power, controlled by our own family. Later, in order to make up for the fact that there were too few people in the tribe and not enough to continue to strengthen their own strength, they planted 10 tails on other living planets and made themselves stronger by swallowing the lives on them, Kagaya said. The Otsutsuki family will ask a member of the family to bring a member of the branch house to the planet where 10 tails is located. The branch house will be given a part of the original will to activate the 10 tails to plunder life. The chakra fruits obtained afterwards are enjoyed by members of the main house, and part of it will be handed into the house regularly. Although our branch house will not die, whether we can gain strength depends on the meaning of the main house members. In this way, there should be a lot of people, Kuan Yu said, rubbing his chin. Yes, I have sent a group of people there to investigate the situation. Most of them have their own territory, that is, the planet, and they are not gathered together. The method of synthesizing giant tensigan also came from there, Hamura said. Prepared well. Kuan Yu said unexpectedly. To fight against them, you must understand them. They know the existence of Sharon, but they only think that they are descendants who don't know where they survived, Hamura said. With your strength, you can't completely fight against the Otsutsuki family, so we can take the initiative to ask this planet to become your territory. With your identity and ability of the Otsutsuki family, it is not difficult to do this, Kagaya said. As long as they offer chakra fruits regularly, they won't care. Kuan Yu frowned. It seemed that he was thinking too simple, thinking that there were only a few Otsutsuki. But it doesn't seem to be right now. Although the general Otsutsuki is not afraid, Kagaya is already very strong after integrating with 10 tails. But he also has a solution, but if they attack in an all-round way, Kuan Yu can't stop it either. You have to make a confession. That's what you planned to do before, Kuan Yu said while looking at Kagaya. Yes, with the ability of the two of us to talk to my family, Kagaya said lightly. Hee, this is not a problem, chakra fruit, you can give them and buy time for us, Kuan Yu sneered. Kagaya frowned, looking at Kuan Yu's expression, he knew that he didn't want to compromise. What do you want to do? She couldn't help asking. Of course it is to eliminate them. I don't like people pointing fingers at me. Kuan Yu's eyes flickered. This is a great threat to the development of the ninja world, and those who cultivate immortality will become the best food for those people. Because the person who cultivates immortality has a stronger original will, it is a very good goal. Once discovered, the result will not be too good. And the method of cultivating immortals will definitely be watched by those people. Once they understand it, they will undoubtedly become stronger. They have always relied on a stronger chakra to gain more powerful power, and the chakra they accumulated was looted by them. Or provided by 10 tails. Once they know that immortality can decompose natural energy to form chakra, they will be crazy. You want to defeat them, it's impossible. Although you are strong enough, you still can't deal with so many Otsutsuki families, Kagaya said in shock. Who says it's impossible? I can be stronger, Kuan Yu said, raising his hand and making a fist. Stronger. Kagaya, Hamura, and Sage of Six Paths were also shocked. How can this be? Kuan Yu has reached its limit, and there are more chakras that can be used at most, like other Otsutsuki. At most, the application of attributes is much stronger than them, but there is still a big difference in quantity. How could he become stronger? In fact, Hamura and Hai have agreed with Kaguya's ideas, they only need to protect the ninja world. I don't want to be out of line. Kuan Yu smiled. By the way, who is Otsutsuki who came to ninja with you? He changed the subject. He is called Yishi. He was originally an important figure in the Otsutsuki clan, but he has died and was swallowed by 10 tails as a sacrifice, Kagaya said. Dead? He is probably not dead, Kuan Yu said with a sneer. This is impossible. I have swallowed his original will with 10 tails, and he can't be alive, Kagaya said in shock. Maybe. I will investigate afterwards, and don't worry until I'm sure, Kuan Yu said. Kagaya and the others looked at each other, in their opinion Kuan Yu was too cautious. But this is good, Kuan Yu will not do it when he is not sure. Well, in this case, now I will tell you how to master the power of the original will, Kagaya said. Although she thinks Izumi Yu's confrontation with the Otsutsuki family is a bit whimsical, what if he succeeds? Moreover, he himself does not have the power of the master's original will, so he is already so strong. Oh, I would like to know how the master works. Kuan Yu was also slightly curious. His original will has reached its limit, but he still can't have the power of master. It's actually very simple, just integrate the original will into the body, Kagaya said. Kuan Yu was dumbfounded, isn't his original will in the body? It's not as you understand it, it's fully integrated into all parts of the body, Kagaya said. After the original will is integrated into the body, it can directly mobilize the yin and yang to form the strongest defense. For you, you have mastered the 5 elements of yin and yang, and you can make your body comparable to truth-seeking ball. At the same time, it will activate your body to the limit, and then give you the power of the master space. Kagaya pointed to the eyes on his forehead. The power of the origin is all over the body. This is the power of the blood trap, Kagaya said. It's so, Kuan Yu muttered to himself. He originally thought that the blood succession snare was the blood succession of the fusion of yin and yang and the 5 elements. But I didn't expect to have to do this. By spreading the original will all over the body, with its power, you can mobilize the power of the yin and yang and the 5 elements of the truth-seeking ball to be distributed throughout the body. This forms a defense comparable to truth-seeking ball, and even possesses the destructive ability of truth-seeking ball. No wonder Kaguya's defense is so strong, even the dust of the fairy technique can be directly held. Moreover, Kei Yoruichi has never used truth-seeking ball, because the power of truth-seeking ball has been incorporated into her body. She is truth-seeking ball. The other Otsutsuki's bodies have no seal. 10 tails cannot synthesize truth-seeking ball, so they can only use the power of yin and yang to escape. Yin Yang Dun's defense is also very strong, but it is much worse than truth-seeking ball. Kuan Yu mobilized his original will and began to blend into the body, and the original will was gathered together. Kuan Yu didn't think about this, but thought that cohesion was the strongest. So I never thought it would be like this. With the integration of the original will, Kuan Yu felt that his body seemed to be injected with power. The power of yin and yang and the 5 elements are all over the body. This makes his defense stronger, and can also do Kaguya's empty-handed takeover sage art dust. When the original will is fully integrated, there was a gap between Kuan Yu's eyebrows, and the 100 healings mark pierced directly through this mark. Open, Kuan Yu whispered. The gap split instantly, and a blue eye appeared, with a doji inside, and 4 bright spots distributed around the doji. Curious eyes, there is no record of such eyes in the Otsutsuki clan, Kaguya said while looking at Kuan Yu's eyes. But Kuan Yu didn't speak. He could feel his eyes as if he had seen through the space, and even had a feeling of controlling the space. He can create a space if he can, but it will consume a lot of chakra. That's why Kaguya's starting ball space is coming. But she has 10 tails and has more chakra to create space, but Kuan Yu is not realistic. What better way to enhance your own subsidiary space if you have this skill? Feel it. This is the power of our family. It allows us to see through the space and have the power to control the space, Kaguya said. Really strong, Kuan Yu could feel that he could traverse infinity in an instant. With a wave of his hand, a space door opened. Yes, it makes my eyes stronger, and it's very practical, Kuan Yu said with a smile. This eye can be said to be an enhanced version of his blue 10-star eye. All abilities have been strengthened. The most important thing is the ability of master space. There is also an increase in the ability to control all aspects of his body. Kuan Yu believes that this is the reason why the original will has been integrated into the body. Thank you for your advice, Kuan Yu smiled. It's not difficult, you will find out slowly, Kaguya said. This is not necessarily true. I am a fan of the authorities, Kuan Yu smiled. Wait for a while, the first collective meeting of the Sky Council will be held, and I will invite you to participate in that time. I don't like this kind of thing. Do I have to come? Kaguya frowned. She didn't want to pay attention to the thoughts of those ants. Kaguya was too deeply influenced by the thinking of the Otsutsuki family. If you don't like it, it's the same to send Avatar, just to behave. After all, we have to let the ninja world know us, Kuan Yu said. I see. Let's go Hakata village. In the end Kaguya agreed, and when she finished speaking, she opened a space door. Hai and Hamura bowed slightly to Kuan Yu, and walked into the space gate with Kaguya. They went back to the moon. Kuan Yu smiled. Although things weren't as simple as he expected, they were not bad, and he still had time. He took a deep breath. The 4-star blue and 10-star eyes on his forehead slowly closed, and finally even the gap disappeared. A blue cross mark appeared there, and there were also 4 marks similar to stars. And the mark of 100 healings mark is also covered. His hair began to turn black and his skin returned to its normal color. The bones of his forehead also disappeared, and he returned to his previous appearance, otherwise the ninja world might show resistance. After all, how you look at Kuan Yu just now is not a normal person. He looked at the crowd coming and going below, then turned and left here. With the end of this battle, everyone knew that Kuan Yu saved the ninja world, and Madara was also eliminated. He also found the legendary sage of 6 paths, his brother, and their mother, the goddess Yuyoshi, and signed a contract with them to jointly protect the ninja world. This is simply a myth in their eyes, but the fact is, Kuan Yu didn't tell them that Kaguya was their enemy before, and even the root cause of Madara's incident was Kaguya. The image of Wei Guangzhang is necessary, and few people see it anyway. Most of them are trapped in infinite Tsukuyomi. Kuan Yu was not prepared to mention it, and anyone who knew would not dare to talk nonsense. But what everyone knows is that the shinobi world is going to be peaceful forever. Not only Kuan Yu, but even the true gods have come out. Whoever dares to make trouble, no matter how ambitions they have, must converge. There are still some hidden dangers in the tolerable world. Coming together, this is troublesome. Both of them are very strong, especially that Kuan Yu. A figure was standing on the windowsill and looking outside. Should I continue to hide? It doesn't seem to make much sense, but I can't go back now, so let's wait and see. Before the words fell, the figure disappeared, as if it had disappeared suddenly. In a room. Izumi-sama, Kakashi brought it, a samurai said respectfully when he approached Izumi. Well, let him in, Quan Yu nodded. Yes, the samurai bowed and retired. Soon he walked in alone. It was Kakashi. He is in good spirits and still covers one eye with a forehead protector. Master Quan Yu. Why are you so productive? You know, I don't care about this, Quan Yu said with a smile. Okay, Quan Yu, is there anything you asked me to come over? Kakashi touched his head and said. It's something. How is my teacher? Quan Yu asked. Fortunately, third generation did not hurt Tsunade-sama, but she has been in a bad mood recently, and she always goes to Jiraiya-sama to drink, Kakashi said with a smile. After 8 Tails found Killer Bee, they also found Tsunade and brought them back together. There was nothing wrong with the two of them. After waking up, they understood the situation and went back to their own villages. It's just that Tsunade's gaze dodges a bit when she sees Quan Yu. She is very concerned about the attack on Quan Yu after being disguised by third generation. That's good, I'll see her in a while, Quan Yu said with a smile. Now let's take care of your business. My business? Kakashi was taken aback. Didn't your eyes be taken away? This is for you. Quan Yu stretched out his hand, and a box appeared in his hand. Kakashi took it suspiciously, and then opened it. This is Sharingan. Azumi's eyes. Kakashi frowned. The eye you were snatched from before, and the corresponding one, Quan Yu said while looking at Kakashi. The corresponding one. Kakashi seemed to think of something. Obito, he exclaimed. That's right. Quan Yu waved his hand, and a figure appeared here. He knelt on the ground with a haggard face. Half of his face seemed to have been hurt in some way, showing a pale white. The blood and tears flowing under the eyes have dried up and turned dark red. This is. Kakashi knew Obito's former identity when he saw Obito's costume. But he never thought that this person was Obito. He will leave it to you. How to deal with it depends on what you think, but I remind you that the sins he committed are unforgivable. After that, Quan Yu walked to the door. If you have a decision, just tell me, bang. Quan Yu closed the door and left. Kakashi, do I look embarrassed? Obito stood up slowly. Why do you want to do this? I thought you were dead, Kakashi said in a low voice. Dead? Indeed, I was already dead. Just when Lin died, just like Quan Yu said, I was a coward and didn't even have the courage to die, Obito said lightly. Lin's matter was an accident. Needless to say, she is dead, dead in your hands. Why are you still alive? Obito said frantically. Faced with Obito's accusation, Kakashi looked sad. I don't want to, sorry Obito. Haha, forget it. What else is there to say now? Kakashi, kill me, let me see Lin. Just as he didn't want to forgive Kakashi, he didn't want to forgive himself. These days he thinks a lot and knows that many things are a conspiracy, Madara-s and absolutes. Even his hatred is a mistake. Death is the best relief for him. Obito opened his hands, preparing for his death. But what he was waiting for was, bang. Obito was shot flying. You really deserve to die, you even hurt the teacher and you don't even plan to let Naruto go, Kakashi said in a deep voice. Yes, Kakashi, you are very smart. That was what I did. I admit, since I made a mistake, kill me, Obito said, turning over and leaning against the wall. His expression is very indifferent, as if he has seen through life and death. You really thought I didn't dare to kill you? The harsh thunder sounded in the room. Reikari. The way you killed Lin, that's great. I like it a lot. Obito smiled. Kakashi's face was a little distorted. The thunder became harsher, and Obito could feel Kakashi approaching. Obito. The violent chakra wave was rapidly approaching his body, and Obito knew that Kakashi had done it. There was a relieved smile on his face. Lin, I'm here to see you, teacher, sister, I'm sorry for you. Boom, confusion appeared on Obito's face. It's not so easy to want to die. Do you know how I got here over the years? You need atonement. His hand was in Obito's ear, and Reikari just broke a hole in the wall behind Obito. Then Kakashi stunned Obito with one blow. He looked at Obito, who fell on the ground with complicated eyes. Quan Yu looked at Kakashi, who was half kneeling on the ground, and Obito, who was lying on the ground, and suddenly knew that Kakashi didn't want Obito to die. Quan Yu. I know this is embarrassing for you, but I hope you will give Obito a chance to rehabilitate." Kakashi lowered his head and said. "Well, you get up first, and then you were also my predecessor. How can I feel this kind of courtesy?" Kakashi didn't want to get up, he knew that this request was too much for Kuan Yu. But an invisible force directly supported him. After all, Obito used Kuan Yu's relatives to threaten him. It's not impossible to let him go. Kuan Yu thought for a while and said. "Really?" Kakashi said in surprise. "However, capital crimes can be avoided and living crimes cannot be escaped. I will give him a way of atonement and it will not make him feel better," Kuan Yu said. "Thank you, Izumi, as long as Obito is immortal," Kakashi said excitedly. "Listen to the punishment I gave him, and the Kingdom of Wind knows it." Kakashi nodded. "Obito has first-generation cells. Although it is not very active, wood style can be used. When he planted the Kingdom of Wind with flowers and trees, I will save him from his sins," Kuan Yu said. The country of wind. Kakashi's head was dizzy. Of course he knows how big the country of the wind is, and it is impossible to plant it full by wood style alone. This is almost an impossible task. However, Obito can also do it slowly. Kuan Yu has no time limit. Kuan Yu is not so kind. If wood style is used too much, first generation is the consequence. Unless there is a tailed beast willing to provide him with chakra, Kuan Yu smiled, and he had an idea in his heart. "Oh, by the way, if you become a member of the Sky Council, there is a resurrection quota. Kakashi, do you want to fight for it? But since you let Obito atone for your sins, even if you become a counselor, you must wait for Obito to complete the task before you can get this power." Kuan Yu glanced at Obito who was lying on the ground and smiled. "There is no way to want to be so easy. What, can anyone be resurrected?" Kakashi said excitedly. "Of course, but hurry up, the soul in the Pure Land will soon be shredded, and then the original will be left to reincarnate, if you don't step up. In fact, it is not so exaggerated. Sage of Six Paths has collected too many souls. After all, there have been more wars before. It is not realistic to reincarnate all. The specific handling method needs to be discussed, but the person who dies in the future, if there is no crime, can arrange to be reincarnated. The rest will be swallowed by 10 tails and used to make chakra fruit. But it's too complicated, so I'll arrange it later when I have time. Now he doesn't need chakra fruit to increase his strength. Said this is only for someone. I don't know what conditions are needed to become a member of parliament." Kakashi looked at Kuan Yu and said. "I can give you the quota, but it's up to you whether you can get the approval of the tail beast," Kuan Yu said with a smile. He really couldn't help this, but the tail beast didn't agree with Kakashi, and he couldn't even control him. "Thank you, Izumi," Kakashi nodded and said. "Come with me, if you were unlucky, I can't help it." Kakashi is still worth training, so Kuan Yu made this request. After all, to join the Sky Council, you must leave Konoha. Izumi wanted to take this opportunity to let Kakashi try. At that time, even the teacher would not be able to say anything. After all, Kakashi himself agreed. Kuan Yu smiled in his heart. "It seems that you have to work for a few years, teacher. Kakashi, the 6th generation, depends on whether I have any luck to take it away." Kakashi carried Obito and followed Kuan Yu to a hall. At Kuan Yu's request, Obito was put outside. "Everyone, your chance is here. This is Kakashi who came to get your approval. If anyone thinks he is suitable, he can go out," Kuan Yu just finished. The tail beasts now live here, and when they find a partner, they can choose their own territory and gain freedom. As soon as Kuan Yu finished speaking, a few small-tailed beasts ran out, and they had known Kuan Yu's arrival a long time ago. Among the 9 symbolic arrays on the ground around, the ghosts of 1 tail, 8 tails, and 9 tails appeared. "It's actually Kakashi. How should I say it? I can barely agree with it," 9 tails as Phantom said with his arms folded. "Yeah, it feels good," 8 tails said. His desire is more intense," Shuhei said suddenly. "It's okay, after all, I know what he desires," Kuan Yu explained. The tail beast represents the 9 middle emotions of human beings. 1 tail represents longing, as if travelers in the desert are longing for water. The 2nd tail represents fear, and its appearance is always a ghost cat. 3 tails represents laziness, as can be seen from its habits. 4 tails represents stubbornness. It is called Monkey King, with a fiery personality and insisting on his own ideas. 5 tails represents freedom, and it looks like a horse. 6 tails represents greed, and Kuan Yu doesn't know why. Maybe because of its ability to corrode, but it corrodes matter, and greed corrodes the mind. 7 tails represents disguise. It has the ability to disguise itself, and it can also see through the disguise of others' hearts. 8 tails stands for mania, which itself is more manic. And 9 tails is good and evil, so it can feel the malice of others. It is also the most powerful of the tail beasts. Of course, this is also a test of the congressman's temperament. Even if it is qualified, the tail beast may not choose you. Several tail beasts circled Kakashi a few times, then ran to the side and talked quietly. From time to time, I looked at Kakashi. Kakashi was quite embarrassed. Still, he stood up straight, trying to show his best side. The tail monster's discussion was over, and then he walked to their respective talisman formations and looked at Kakashi. Okay, we decided. Kakashi passed our approval, 9 tails commented. There are disadvantages, but some qualities are good. 8 tails nodded. This is the horror of tail beasts. They can see through people's hearts and it is almost impossible to hide them. Thank you, Kakashi said excitedly. Don't be busy and happy. We haven't decided who will choose you yet. Maybe there will be none at all, 9 tails continued. Kakashi stiffened. I give up, he is not suitable for me, said Erwei, who was burning with Lan Yan. I also give up, give up, give up. Tailed beasts successively expressed their opinions. And Kakashi is getting desperate. In the end, all the tail beasts looked at 3 tails, who closed their eyes there, only it hadn't expressed an opinion. Kakashi also looked at it, with hope in his eyes, a chance for resurrection. He didn't want to give up. This can save a lot of things. I agree, his character should not be that enthusiastic, more suitable for me. Ji-Fu opened his eyes and said a speechless reason. Kakashi was embarrassed. Congratulations, Senior Kakashi. I hope you will do well in the future, Quan Yu said with a smile. He is very happy that Kakashi can be selected. But you still have to work harder, it's not easy to be a member of parliament. Then he waved, and Ji-Fu flew into his hand. I will, Kakashi said firmly. That's good. Quan Yu's other hand began to draw chakra from Ji-Fu, and soon a black and red ball appeared in Quan Yu's hand. Kakashi is a little curious. What is Quan Yu going to do? Then. Bang! Kakashi's eyes were round. Seal of the 4 elephants. Azumi's hand hit Kakashi's stomach directly. Then Kakashi flew out. After landing, Kakashi got up and coughed twice, clutching his stomach. Then he hurriedly opened his clothes and looked at his stomach. A sign was slowly disappearing on his stomach. In this way, you can use the chakra of the tail beast, which is the welfare of the counselors, Quan Yu said with a smile. Kakashi stood up. Thank you, Quan Yu, you're welcome, but I remind you that if you use wood style frequently, you will die. Although the tail beast chakra cannot make up for the consumption of his own vitality, it can also strengthen wood style. I hope you can do it yourself. In addition, the souls of some special characters will be preserved, so there is no need to worry about their souls disappearing. Then Quan Yu put Ji-Fu on the ground. Open the space door and walk inside. Kakashi watched Quan Yu leave, and bowed in the direction he left. Originally Quan Yu didn't care about his feelings, and Obito deserved it, but in the end Quan Yu reminded him. Oh, it seems that life will be difficult in the future. I didn't expect to be drawn chakra if I fell into your hands. Isosuke walked to Kakashi's side and said. Trouble you. Kakashi said guiltily. Forget it, who let you be my choice, I just reluctantly accepted it, Ji-Fu said indifferently. Kakashi put Iso on his shoulder. Then he felt that there was a wave of chakra in his body that connected with Isao. Everyone. See you in the future. I hope you find a partner soon, Ji-Fu said, looking at the other tail beasts. That's right, you have to act first, don't hesitate to see what is right. Now we are not sealed like before, 9 tails said as the boss. The other tail beasts glanced at 9 tails and ran away. Hello, you hear me? Kakashi shook his head. He knew that the tail beast also had its own thoughts and could not be treated like before. Now it is his own partner. Then he went out. When he came to the door, he saw Obito sitting there. Kakashi walked slowly to Obito's side. Has Kakashi succeeded? Obito felt abnormal and said quickly. So you woke up a long time ago. I made it, Kakashi said lightly. Successful. Okay, we hope to resurrect Lin, Obito said excitedly. But then he was silent again. Teacher's side. Don't worry, there is Naruto. Given the relationship between Naruto and Izumi, it should be fine. It depends on Naruto's thoughts, Kakashi said. Obito breathed a sigh of relief. Do you know the consequences? If you overuse wood style, you will die, Kakashi said. Hehe. Do you think I still care about this? If I can, I even hope to use my life in exchange for Lin's resurrection. But Kuan Yu looks down on it, Obito said with a wry smile. Obito suddenly felt a cold thing put into his hand. This is. Obito was taken aback. One of your eyes, Kuan Yu knew that you were awake a long time ago, so that's why he said that. Tailed beast chakra can help you use wood style, and I hope you can atone for it, Kakashi said. Kakashi. Don't you blame me. Obito looked up as if looking at Kakashi. Who hasn't made a mistake yet? This is our chance to redeem our sins, Kakashi said with a smile. A line of blood and tears shed from the corners of Obito's dry eyes. Kuan Yu walked out through the space door. Kuan Yu, you are here, Hizzy said happily. During this period of time, Kuan Yu has been dealing with all aspects of affairs, a little busy. But he can only do these things, such as the placement of the tail beasts, and the communication with Kagaya and the others. Well, there have been a lot of recent events. You can take notes later. Kakashi joined the Sky Council and became a member of the council. Konoha will also inform me, Izumi said with a smile. Well, I see. Keiko nodded. Everything is difficult at the beginning. Once the congressmen are recruited, we will be relaxed, and we can handle our affairs, Kuan Yu said, taking Kiko's hand. Kiko's face flushed. Then how do other councillors arrange? She asked. 5 places in a country, gather together and let the tail beast choose, Kuan Yu said after thinking about it. This is a one-time solution. What about the small country? Recently, many small countries also hope to be sheltered by the Sky Council, Keiko said. Give 5 too. The choice of tail beasts is not based on the quantity. Let them try their best to find excellent ones, with good character, and it doesn't matter whether they are strong or not. Just say that the success rate is high, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Hizzy immediately understood Kuan Yu's thoughts. You are afraid that they will hide the good candidates, Hizzy laughed. Isn't it? Everyone who can be selected by the tail beast basically has the potential of the shadow of a village. Kakashi was only brought over by me with some means, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Joining the Sky Council is tantamount to leaving their original village. It is definitely not what they think can benefit their country. I let the tail beast choose for this kind of justice, Kuan Yu smirked. If there is such an idea, it is impossible to pass the approval of the tail beast door. You are good or bad. After they know, they are still not angry. They have lost their talents and haven't benefited yet, Wei Zhejiao smiled. There is no way, the better the counselor, the easier it will be for me. Otherwise, where can I have time to accompany you? Kuan Yu pulled Keiko into his arms. Just when Kuan Yu was about to do something, Ahem interrupted him with a cough. Bai looked at the two with a reddish face. Keiko got up quickly, her face flushed. Kuan Yu himself didn't pay attention, after all, who was okay to monitor every move around him. He was also slightly embarrassed. It's white, there just happened to be something for you to notify. What's the matter? Bai said with a light smile. Kuan Yu felt even more embarrassed. Ahem, inform Naruto and Killer Bee, hurry up to take up the post. It has been several days, a lot of affairs are waiting for them to deal with, Kuan Yu said, changing the subject. Okay, I'll do it right away, Bai nodded and said. Then prepare to leave. Just when Bai was about to leave, she suddenly turned around and said. If you want to make friends, get married soon, don't make it so sneaky. After speaking, Bai ran away with a chuckle. Kiko's face became even more bang in an instant. Kuan Yu also looked speechless. But from Bai's state, we can feel that she is very relaxed now. This is also Kuan Yu deliberately did not announce the enemy they will face next. There is no need, and telling them is not much use, but it will make them worry. He is enough for these things. Keiko, we may get married later. After this period of time, I will continue to practice, Kuan Yu said apologetically. Kuan Yu, don't mind. I know there are some things you don't want to tell us, but we are one. Keiko was not surprised. She knew that Kuan Yu considered a lot, and that Kagaya she had also met, such a person of unknown origin. Kuan Yu did not give much explanation. She knew there must be some trouble. Thank you, Keiko, a smile appeared on Kuan Yu's face. If you could have such a wife in your previous life, it would be the pinnacle of life. But now Kuan Yu has reached the pinnacle. Anyway, we can live for a long time, so why bother about this time? Keiko said with a smile. Ha ha ha, yes, we can live a long time, so I am going to love you for 10,000 years, Kuan Yu said while hugging Keiko. It's only 10,000 years, no, I want all of you. Keiko felt the air calm down, and only her heart was throbbing. Konoha. You have joined the Sky Council, Tsunade looked at Kakashi dissatisfied, and Three Tails with his eyes closed on his shoulders. Yes, Kakashi said seriously. Congratulations. I congratulate you, Quan Yu. I don't share the same spirit with you. I dare to grab someone from my hand. Tsunade patted the table angrily. Kakashi froze. He didn't know why Tsunade-sama was so angry. He knew from there that Tsunade wanted to quit his job a long time ago. Tenten drags Jiraiya to complain, but Jiraiya doesn't accept the move. Hokage loves to be who he is, but he doesn't want to. So Tsunade hit Kakashi with his idea. Kakashi is qualified to take over her seat. She was going to tell him when Kakashi came back. She didn't expect to be cut off by Quan Yu. How can this not make her angry? It is simply unrealistic to find someone to be Hokage at random. Although it is impossible to have war or something now, it must be recognized by the people in the village. Master Tsunade, this is a letter from the Sky Council. Shizune hurried in. Tsunade frowned. Okay, the person who just took me away sent me a letter again. Tsunade took the letter and read it. Really, Quan Yu is drawing blood. 5 of them are still the best, and they have requirements for character. Tsunade felt like he was going to explode. If Konoha is selected, she probably will spend a lifetime in Konoha's Hokage seat. People who all tail beasts agree with are definitely Hokage's material. It's not enough to take people to make up the number, otherwise it might be compared to other countries. Although peaceful, there is still competition. Even small countries have 5 places, and Quan Yu wants to squeeze out talents all at once. She didn't need to think about it. If there was something he liked, she would definitely be drawn into the Sky Council by Quan Yu. It may not be a parliamentarian, but there are other positions. This is the smell of a politician, and she thinks Quan Yu will definitely do it. And Naruto was also recruited as a counselor by Quan Yu. She felt that she had no successor. Damn Quan Yu. Teacher. What did I do wrong? Quan Yu heard Tsunade's cursing as soon as he walked out of the space door. Tsunade's body stiffened, and she never expected Quan Yu to appear at this time. Ahaha. I'm kidding, by the way, Quan Yu. Why are you here? Tsunade was a little embarrassed, and quickly changed the subject. Of course I came to see the teacher, Quan Yu smiled. It's just right. Accompany me to drink. It has been a long time since I've been drinking with me. Master Tsunade. Work. What kind of work? Chuan Yu is a big man. I must be accompanied by Hokage. This is work, Tsunade said nonchalantly. Quan Yu was embarrassed. Then he was pulled away by Tsunade. Wine table. Ha, comfortable. Tsunade drank the wine in the glass in one sip. Drink less, Jiraiya said with a headache. Quan Yu smiled and drank the wine in the glass in one sip. I said Quan Yu, you don't think about your teacher. The teacher originally wanted to retire, but you actually let Kakashi join the Sky Council, Tsunade said dissatisfied. Teacher, you are still young, so you should work for a few more years, Quan Yu said with a smile. I like to hear these words, but I just look young, Tsunade said dissatisfied. If you want to, I can make you young forever, Quan Yu smiled. What? Tsunade's eyes widened. But that's right, you are almost becoming a god, it's not weird to do this. Even, it can bring people back to life. This is a benefit for the congressman, but you are my teacher and I can give you a place, Quan Yu said. Resurrection. Tsunade's heart was shaken. 3 figures flashed in her mind, suddenly making Tsunade a little silent. Jiraiya next to her looked dark. Haha, Quan Yu, you have become so powerful, we drink and drink, Jiraiya interjected. Then he raised the wine glass. Quan Yu also poured himself a cup and picked it up. And Tsunade's expression was a little dull, as if not seeing the two of them. Quan Yu poured wine into his mouth. I'm not going to abuse this ability, just treat me as willful this time. Maybe I won't use it anymore. It's just that there were too many wars and too many innocent people who died in the past. The power consumed by the resurrection is not small, and there are only so many places, so it was allocated to the MPS. Quan Yu put down the wine glass and said. No wonder Kakashi agreed to be a member of parliament. Jiraiya drank the wine and said thoughtfully. The Pure Land is managed by Sage of 6 Paths. In fact, it's not difficult to meet someone. After that, most of the souls will be shattered, some will be arranged to be reincarnated, and some will disappear forever. However, the rules have not yet been set, and it will take a long time to process. Quan Yu said with a smile. You are really gods. Even the Pure Land is managed by you, Jiraiya said silently. As long as you practice hard in the future, you can too. The Sky Council takes shape, and I will choose to live in seclusion. I will only reappear if it is related to the perilous death of the ninja world. Kuan Yu slowly filled his glass. You don't care about it. Jiraiya was taken aback. You can't always count on me. My existence is not good for the development of the shinobi world. Without crisis awareness, there is no motivation. Shanshu has been completely revised, some rules are formulated, and others are on their own. When someone's strength exceeds the limit, they will be taken away by us. That is to say, I have become an immortal, and I can no longer take care of the ninja world. If someone with this ability continues to stay in the ninja world, the impact will be too great. I'm in charge of these people. Kuan Yu smiled and explained his thoughts to Jiraiya. In fact, it is equivalent to creating a fairyland. Just expand Kaguya's starting ball world. As long as there is enough chakra, the starting ball space can even be larger than ninja. Of course, this is just Kuan Yu's idea. It is still necessary to divide Xianfan. But these things will not be completed until the Otsutsuki clan is eliminated. It's really a different era, Jiraiya said sadly. Kuan Yu looked at Tsunade, who was still dazed. Teacher, did you think about it? Kuan Yu's voice woke Tsunade instantly with a strange fluctuation. Tsunade recovered. Just forget about the resurrection. It's too counterintuitive. If I beg you, you may be able to resurrect a few more, but what's the point of this? The boundary between life and death is blurred, which makes people less cherish the time they are alive, and the meaning of life is even more boring. Tsunade said lowly. I'm not as thorough as the teacher thought, but I will try my best to restrain myself. Maybe I will choose to reincarnate when I have enough life, Kuan Yu said. Life is not such a good experience, and living too long is also a burden. This discarded a lot of things, but at least he hasn't lived enough yet, and he hasn't experienced many things. Kuan Yu, you look very open. Immortality is something that many people can't ask for. Tsunade's eyes looked to one side. Long time no see. Tsunade Orochimaru smiled and walked in. Unexpectedly, you also came to Konoha, Jiraiya said lightly. I've always been in Konoha, but you don't know it. Orochimaru pulled a chair away and sat down. What are you doing in Konoha? Tsunade said uncomfortably. Some of the previous experimental products were not processed and could not be cleaned according to Izumi's request, so they had to be sent to Konoha. Orochimaru smiled. Those monsters of yours actually want to be sent to Konoha. Tsunade was immediately angry. They are all children, not monsters, and they belong to the Uchiha clan, Orochimaru said, then looked at Kuan Yu. It was arranged by me, teacher. These Uchiha clones are essentially the same as those of the Uchiha clan. I have recovered their lost eyes. It can be considered to make up for their original mistake. After all, there are only 2 or 3 people left in Uchiha, and these children are not easy to deal with, Kuan Yu explained. Tsunade was silent. What third generation did at the beginning was wrong, but the Uchiha clan also had a rebellious mentality at that time. Of course, this was also related to the exclusion of the village. And these are just children, and they can be gradually integrated into Konoha if they are cultivated well. Well, I agree, Tsunade said helplessly. Thank you. Kuan Yu won't let me go if I can't handle it. I'm not good at raising children, Orochimaru said with a smile. You are so lucky. Kuan Yu let you go. Jiraiya glanced at Orochimaru and said. I'm very lucky, but my dream has basically been realized, and the rest is to explore the unknown mystery. It happened that Kuan Yu gave me this opportunity, Orochimaru said with a smile. Bang. Why do you talk so much nonsense? Since there are no contradictions, then drink. Tsunade put a bottle of wine directly in front of Orochimaru. Haha, I'm sorry, I did this bottle. Orochimaru laughed, picked up the bottle and blew it. At this time, Orochimaru is no longer feminine, but looks very bold. Well, today we will not be drunk or go home. Tsunade seems to be venting something. It may be related to the resurrection that Kuan Yu mentioned to her before. Although she didn't care on the surface, she still had something in her heart. Late at night, Kuan Yu supported Tsunade, then waved his hand to open a space door and sent her in. Haha, Kuan Yu, you are getting stronger and stronger to the master of space, Orochimaru said with a smile. The space door is closed. It's just a more convenient ability, Kuan Yu said lightly. After a while, Kabuto will come to you to cooperate with your experiment. The main research area is technology and sealing. If necessary, the villages will provide support. I understand that this kind of preferential treatment is not available to everyone. I'm leaving. Orochimaru bowed slightly, then turned and left here. There is no doubt about Orochimaru's scientific research ability. This is also the reason Kuan Yu left him, so that it can speed up the development of the ninja world. Then I will leave too. Jiraiya watched Orochimaru leave, and was about to leave. Wait. You don't want to say anything about Tsunade, teacher? Kuan Yu stopped Jiraiya. Say something. Jiraiya was taken aback. The teacher has been alone for so long, so you don't have any ideas. Kuan Yu raised an eyebrow at Jiraiya. This. Jiraiya was a little embarrassed. I'm so old, I'm still so hesitant to do things, Kuan Yu said with dissatisfaction. You can live a long life in the future. You have to seize the opportunity. Otherwise you will be alone for the rest of your life. Also, tidy yourself up. Don't be so sloppy. Cut your hair short and grow a beard. You should still be able to see it. The more Kuan Yu said, the more embarrassed Jiraiya. He looked at Jiraiya up and down, and felt that it was impossible for the teacher to see Jiraiya like this. Forget it. I'll show it to you. You don't understand. A burst of smoke exploded from Kuan Yu. Then a tall and mighty man with a cold face appeared in front of Jiraiya. Properly trimmed hair is combed neatly with some beard. Looks very handsome. This is the face. This is. Jiraiya's eyes widened. Isn't it? That's handsome. Especially your eyes must be changed. Don't always look like Mimi, Kuan Yu said. His current appearance is the appearance of Guoxin Jushi in the biography of Bo Ren. Smoke exploded on Kuan Yu's body and returned to its original state. Think about it for yourself. That's all I can help you. He opened the space door, took a look at Jiraiya, and then walked in. Jiraiya was left in a daze. It took him a long time to touch his hair. A space door on the moon opened, and Kuan Yu walked out of it. He looked around. This was an older castle. He waited there and didn't move much, just kept looking around. You came, 3 figures walked out. It is Kagaya and them. Well, I'll take a look at Tensigan. What happened to what I asked you to investigate before? Kuan Yu asked. With the power of Tensigan, we have observed the entire planet and found nothing, Sage of Six Paths said. Oh, is that so? Don't forget it, Kuan Yu said indifferently. Anyway, that person didn't dare to jump out now. Tensigan was only able to observe, and the other party deliberately hid it and they couldn't find it. Kagaya and the others didn't care about it. There is no best. Go and see Tensigan, please follow me. After that, the 3 of them took Kuan Yu to a place on the surface of the moon. On a huge dead tree, a bright yellow giant ball is emitting light. The dead tree became the base, supporting the giant ball. Kuan Yu saw that the dead tree was the body of 10 tails, and the bright yellow giant ball was the giant Tensigan. Obviously they combined the two. What a pure will, it really deserves to be Tensigan, Kuan Yu said in admiration. He could feel that there was a lot of pure chakra in it, which was incomparable compared to his previous Tensigan. This is almost all the Byakugan aggregates in the ninja world, and the Byakugan also has the purest original will, Hamura said. The original will contained in it should be enough for 2 people to reach the limit of absorption. This Kuan Yu can still be felt. This should be prepared by Sage of Six Paths for them to fight against other Otsutsuki in the future. But there is no need to absorb it now. The giant Tensigan is different, it is already similar to 10 tails. Its chakra also has the yin and yang 5 elements, which is why the Hyuga people are not good at any attribute chakra. Because their attributes are too average, there is no bias at all. In other words, they have the attributes of yin and yang in the 5 elements, but they are too weak. Therefore, the giant Tensigan formed by Byakugan has activated all the yin and yang attributes of the 5 elements in such a mass gathering. As the sons of Kagaya, Hamura and Hai were born because of their relationship with Kagaya, who was integrated with 10 tails, and mastered the 5 elements of yin and yang. Even Sage of Six Paths inherited Rinnegan, and then the blood was scattered to form Sharingan. It would be too wasteful to just break down the giant Tensigan. I want to know, is Tensigan related to Caged Bird? Kuan Yu asked suddenly. Hamura glanced at Kuan Yu. Yes, Caged Bird was created by me. After death, the original will of the person with this curse will be absorbed by Tensigan through contact. But this is to collect the original will, but also to cultivate the younger generation. Once someone breaks through the Caged Bird's restrictions, the body, chakra, and will be fully improved, and it is possible to obtain the real Tensigan. It's a pity. Hamura shook his head. Kuan Yu smiled. It's a pity that the Hyuga family used it as a tool to restrict Branch House, and no one broke through. Yes, they didn't understand the meaning of Caged Bird. Only by breaking through the cage can they spread their wings and fly high. Hamura sighed. The yang escape that breaks through the limits of the body. The yin escape created by exercising the will, plus the powerful enough chakra. It is indeed very promising to evolve Tensigen. But no one thought of it at all, thinking that this was used to restrict branch house. Compared to Sharingan, Byakugan is more difficult to evolve. It must meet all the conditions at once to evolve Tensigen. Unlike Sharingan, there are many stages, and each breakthrough will become stronger. It can be said that before Byakugan did not break through, in fact, there is no big difference. And you need very pure Byakugan. But recently someone broke through the physical limitations, Hamura said suddenly. Kuan Yu was taken aback. And there are signs of breaking the chakra limit. Hamura was very happy, with a smile on his face. How could the appearance of such a junior not make him happy? With a wave of his hand, an image appeared in front of Kuan Yu and others. A person is doing physical exercises sweating like rain. Isn't it Hyuga Neji? It's actually Neji. It seems that his 8 inner gates and my breathing method have improved a lot, Kuan Yu said in surprise. You know, Hamura said in surprise. Of course, he is my classmate, but such a breakthrough would consume the body's potential too much, Kuan Yu said. How Neji broke through, he understood when he thought about it. Kuan Yu, who was using his breathing method, certainly understood that, although Neji used breathing method or 8 inner gates to break through some restrictions forcibly. But I am afraid that I have also embarked on the old path of Kuan Yu. Neji's physical potential is definitely much better than the previous Kuan Yu, but with such rapid progress, the potential of his body will be drained. Indeed, even though he mastered the sage body because of this, he couldn't help but exercise like this, Hamura nodded and said. Sage body. Good luck. Kuan Yu was a little envious. He didn't even create the breathing method because of Master Sage body. I didn't expect Neji to be so lucky. No wonder Hamura would say that Neji's chakra is about to break the limit. Otsutsuki's gene was activated because of the caged bird that Neji broke through, and Neji obtained the sage body. This shows that Neji is already very good. And he, who is also a descendant of Kagaya, is not so lucky. If he hadn't changed his body, he wouldn't be a sage body at all. However, there is still a big difference between Neji's sage body and first generations. As a sage body, his depleted potential has been replenished to a certain extent, but if it continues like this, it will be slowly drained. Kuan Yu knows how terrifying the consumption of breathing techniques in the later stages, especially the practice of Neji, regardless of the cost. Are you going to train it? Kuan Yu asked. Hamura nodded. His Byakugan is quite pure, it is very possible to turn on Tensigen. Then what are you hesitating about? I haven't seen him for a long time. Kuan Yu directly opened the space door. Wait. But in an instant, a person was pulled out by Kuan Yu. Neji's body made violent chakra fluctuations, and he had to do it. Being taken away for unknown reasons, he thought it was an enemy. But Kuan Yu was suppressed in an instant. It's me, Kuan Yu said aloud. Kuan Yu. Neji turned his head to look at Kuan Yu in surprise. Here it is. We are on the moon, Kuan Yu said with a smile. In fact, some places on the moon can also breathe. There are barriers and air here, otherwise the people before them will not be able to survive on it. Not everyone is like Kuan Yu and others without breathing. Neji also relaxed, and then looked at Kagaya and others curiously. He knew who these people were from their special appearance. What did Kuan Yu bring me here? Neji asked puzzledly. Of course there is a good thing. How many levels of my breathing have you practiced? Kuan Yu asked with a smile. The 5th floor, it's very difficult to make further progress, Neji said. Kuan Yu nodded. Sure enough, with sage bodies Neji, the limit should be on the 6th floor. Kuan Yu. What are you going to do? Hamura asked. Kuan Yu thought for a while, then he waved his hand to remove the forehead protector from Neji's forehead. Neji was taken aback, and instinctively wanted to cover it with his hands. However, Kuan Yu still saw it, and the mark on one side of the original intact curse seal had disappeared. Obviously this is Neji's physical limitation. What kind of cover? Isn't caged bird's restrictions partially untied by you? Kuan Yu said with a smile. Kuan Yu, you found out. Neji was at a loss. Although he didn't know if he lost a part of caged bird, he would be controlled by the clan, but if he was discovered. I didn't know it at first, that you can't hide from the person who created caged bird if you break the limit. Kuan Yu pointed to Shiba village. What? Neji was a little shocked, but his eyes fell immediately. Can I ask you why you want to do this? Caged bird let the branch house's destiny be doomed from birth. Neji's words were sad, angry, and at a loss. If he was the one he used to, he might just start it right away. It seems that he has grown a lot now. Oh. I designed this curse seal with good intentions, but I didn't expect to be distorted by them. It was used as a tool. The matching seal was used to contact Tensigan, but they used this connection to manipulate the curse seal. Hamura sighed. Just as I told you at the beginning, caged bird can be cracked from the inside, you should feel the benefits of it, Kuan Yu said. He quickly figured it out. The seal that can control the caged bird of the Hyuga clan master is the seal that Hamura left behind so that the Hyuga tribe after the breakthrough can contact the giant Tensigan. It can be used unilaterally. Without Tensigan, you cannot contact the giant Tensigan on the moon. Instead, it is the curse seal of caged bird that allows the Hyuga clan to contact. By this means they can control the person who engraved the curse. This turns a good thing into a bad thing. Yes, through the 8 inner gates, I forcibly broke through the physical limitations. Thanks to your breathing method. Without it, I couldn't improve so fast, Neji said. Kuan Yu also knew that his breathing method was too gentle, and it would be impossible for Neji to break through the limits without practicing to a high level. On the contrary, 8 inner gates is more violent, and it is also necessary for Neji to break through so quickly. With Kuan Yu's breathing method, Neji is not afraid of physical damage at all. 8 inner gates. Which gate have you reached? Kuan Yu asked. The 6th gate, but it just opened, Neji said. Knowing that the creator of Caged Bird didn't use this technique to manipulate people, his emotions eased. And the other party is probably his own ancestor. In his eyes, Byakugan is the evidence. Although you can still make progress, you will soon reach your limit. You have squeezed your potential too hard, Kuan Yu said. Neji was shocked, and he looked at Kuan Yu blankly. In fact, if Neji does not use Kuan Yu's breathing method so frequently, there is still a lot of room for improvement. In this way, you can break through the limits of chakra, and after a period of time, you can hone your will and break through the final limit. Maybe Tensigan can really evolve. Even the current situation has a good chance, but it consumes more time. After the breakthrough, the body's potential is almost scarce. But Kuan Yu couldn't let Neji continue to practice like this. What about Tensigan? Even with the support of the giant Tensigan, Neji will at best follow the old path of other Otsutsuki. That's why Kuan Yu was so anxious to let Neji come over. In Kuan Yu's eyes, just being an ordinary Otsutsuki is too wasteful, and Neji can be stronger. It is simply not worthwhile to waste time on accumulating the original will. In addition to the cultivation of the 5 element attributes, Neji and his cultivation methods are the most similar, and the breathing method has also been practiced to the 5th level. Tensigan may also evolve later. It's another spring. Except for the deficiencies in the attributes of the 5 elements, the others are not much different. The giant Tensigan can also complement Neji's 5 element attributes, but it's not as strong as Kuan Yu. But this is enough, it has the ability to overwhelm most of Otsutsuki. Compared with the Otsutsuki clan, Kuan Yu and the others have too few high-end powers. Of course, if you find one, you can cultivate one. Round fighting. The Otsutsuki clan is not good at ninjas. It's Sage of 6 Paths and Kagaya, but it doesn't work. They are only crushed by sheer strength. If it weren't for Kuan Yu's manipulation of the power of the 5 elements yin and yang, he was too powerful. He is not much different from Kagaya. The only advantage is physical skills. But Kuan Yu was alone, and he couldn't deal with it in the face of too many Otsutsuki. Kagaya is even more involved, but Hamura and Hai, who are no longer physically strong, are not strong either. Therefore, we still have to cultivate some. The lack of original will, Kuan Yu actually has a way. Can't you break through? Neji was a little dazed. Of course not, am I just going to help you, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Kuan Yu looked at Yukin. I asked Neji to contact Tensigan in advance to break through the limits of chakra, right? He had better try not to withdraw chakra now, Kuan Yu asked. Yes, on the contrary, Tensigan's chakra can also warm his body and eyes, making it easier for him to evolve Tensigan after breaking through, Hamura nodded. Very well, you don't have to worry about your body. Orochimaru has used my cells to perfect first-generation cells and reduce the phagocytosis of first-generation cells. With the help of the giant Tensigan, you can suppress the remaining phagocytosis while replenishing the body's potential. Kuan Yu turned his head and said to Neji. He asked Orochimaru about his body, and he didn't expect his cells to have such a high degree of compatibility with first-generation cells. This is the reason for Orochimaru Master Wood style and Sage body. First-generation cell. Neji was puzzled. You should be able to feel changes in your body, with stronger resilience, and larger chakra. You already have a sage body, and first generation's body is almost the most complete sage body, Kuan Yu explained. Neji was still a little puzzled. Like Kuan Yu and the others said Tensigan, he didn't understand either. But he knew Kuan Yu was helping him. Thank you, Kuan Yu, Neji said seriously. Of course this comes at a price. Kagaya-sama, take out the contract. Kuan Yu looked at Kagaya who had been silent. Kagaya did not hesitate to take out the contract scroll directly. Kuan Yu obviously wanted to cultivate a combat force, which helped them a lot. Although it may consume a certain amount of original will, in order to fight against the Otsutsuki family, she doesn't care anymore. And there are contract restrictions. The contract fell into Kuan Yu's hands. You can look at the contents of this contract, and if you agree, we will train you, Kuan Yu said. Then the contract was handed to Neji. Injecting chakra can feel the content, but whether you agree with it or not, the content above cannot be said. Neji's eyes moved, and then he injected chakra into the contract. The contents of the contract suddenly appeared in his mind. The Otsutsuki clan. Neji exclaimed. They are the ones who appear most in the contract. From the contract, he knows that this is the enemy. Yes, you can't access this contract now, only if you have enough strength. But time is pressing, and your talent can quickly improve your strength. This is why I choose you. We have to face a stronger enemy, Kuan Yu said, squinting. Neji didn't understand what kind of enemy it was that made Kuan Yu so nervous. But it is definitely a threat to the ninja world. I sign. Neji said seriously. Very good, Kuan Yu smiled. He knew Neji would not refuse. It takes time to cultivate the original will. We can use the original will in the giant Tensigan so that he can quickly evolve Tensigan, Hamura said with a smile. No, crush the souls collected 100 years ago, and we will have enough original will, Kuan Yu said. However, it takes time to synthesize the chakra fruit, and the scattered origin will easily disperse, Kagaya said. The ability of 10 tails is not only to extract the original wills from the soul, but also to unify these original wills to bear the fruit of chakra. This process takes about 1,000 years, and the original will in Tensigan, after so long has been fused together, is undoubtedly the most suitable. It's okay to use immortality. Neji's soul is not as limited as ours, it can be absorbed completely, and it does not need to be attached, Kuan Yu explained. If Kuan Yu absorbs the original will, it must be gathered together. Otherwise, it will be too easy to spill after being impacted, and it will not be easy to control without a unified original will. However, as long as Neji cultivates into immortality, he can directly integrate these original wills with his soul. Melt into the soul and become one. It turns out that this is the case, that is to say, those who have become immortal techniques can quickly increase their strength, Yu Yi said in surprise. Yes, but we can't do this all the time. It's worthless to gain power too easily. Let them cultivate slowly. It's just an emergency now. And the soul will always use up the day, Kuan Yu said. Yui nodded. Although they are in desperate need of strength, they cannot abuse it, otherwise it is themselves that will destroy them. Even if there are contractual restrictions, it will not work. How much do you plan to train? Ha Yi asked. Your 2 sons are okay. Let's take a look at the others after Shuchengxian, Kuan Yu said. However, those trained in this way can't show much strength without the help of Rinnegan's eyes. And their bodies can't bear so much chakra, even Kagaya can't play all the chakras of 10 tails, otherwise the speed of using the expanded truth-seeking ball will not be so slow. However, Kuan Yu's body is strong enough to be able to play out of his own. It must be said that he has chakra, which is why he does not have so many chakras. Kuan Yu was also helpless. Shanshu hadn't started yet, and she had no experience in the application of yin-yang dun. Even if ordinary people have the original will, they only have a stronger chakra, and they can't fully use it. Even at the limit, they couldn't use the space ability like Kuan Yu and the others. This requires learning. Even Kuan Yu doesn't understand the principle now, so how can I teach it to them? So there are not many people who can choose. What's more, you can only use the most difficult way to practice immortal arts. Kuan Yu hadn't thought of how to get ordinary people to practice immortal arts. He is still studying this, and may need to use seal technology. I can only hope that Neji has this talent, otherwise Kuan Yu can't help it. Neji, this is not necessarily successful, you have to be prepared, Kuan Yu said. Neji nodded. Although he didn't quite understand what Kuan Yu and the others said, he also knew that power was not so easy to obtain. Then he signed the contract, and Neji also noticed several other names on the contract. He didn't expect Naruto and they had already signed it. Alright. Let's start. Let the giant Tensigan and Neji establish a connection, Kuan Yu said to Hamura. Hamura nodded. Then a part of the bright yellow ball was separated from the giant Tensigan, and then it turned into a white ball on Hamura's hand. Kuan Yu knows that this is the same as when he used Tensigan to pass chakra in the past, he used Tensigan's organization to form a connection. I still added a part of the original will to it. Once Neji has cultivated immortality, he can immediately evolve Tensigan. Whether he can achieve it or not is up to him, Hamura said. Kuan Yu nodded. These original wills are not much compared to the original wills in his previous Tensigan. But evolving Tensigan is enough. It's a little bit painful, but it can also strengthen your body, Hamura said when he came to Neji. Thank you, ancestor, Neji said seriously. Oh, so smart. I hope you can be our companion, Hamura smiled. The mass of white matter in his hand disintegrated into some small white balls. Then he attached himself to Neji and began to blend in. Immediately Neji felt pain, but to him who had gone through cruel exercise, it was nothing. Hamura also showed appreciation, this junior is quite good. In the end, these white balls were completely integrated. Neji's skin turned pale, and a silver light appeared in his hair. After the pain disappeared, Neji moved his body a bit, feeling little change. But Hamura smiled slightly. Suddenly a large amount of chakra followed his Byakugan into his body, making his eyes bright. What a pure chakra, Neji said in surprise. But with the continuous injection of chakra, after filling Neji's body, it did not stop. Still constantly impacting Neji's body. Neji felt pain again, but he didn't speak. He knew that this was what Kuan Yu said to break through the chakra limit in his body. When he used 8 inner gates and breathing method, he had already discovered it. He endured with all his strength and suppressed with all his strength. Streaks of green chakra kept emerging from Neji. Neji felt like he couldn't bear it anymore, but at this moment. Click. Click, the sound of shattering sounded in Neji's consciousness, and his expression was shocked. Break it for me. Neji let out a low growl. Chakra burst out all over him, and a large amount of green chakra instantly enveloped him. And the mark on one side of his forehead is slowly disappearing, leaving only the X mark in the middle. This is the final seal of will. Very well, the chakra restriction has been lifted, Hamura said happily. Then what's the final restriction? Neji asked. He vaguely felt that there seemed to be a limit. Will. Only a strong will can break through, but if you practice immortality, it will be easy for you, Hamura said. Neji was silent for a moment. No, I want to try it myself, he said firmly. The chakra on his body began to converge, and he could feel that he had made contact with an existence and could mobilize a large amount of chakra. Can also pass chakra back.